ghostly mark. Cobwebs twine and shadows dance in this twilight somber trance. Candles flicker, weary wicks, ancient echoes, time's cruel tricks. Marble figures, frozen pose, amidst the silence sorrow grows. Whispering shadows, secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room. Chandeliers and crystal tears reflect forgotten yesteryears, softly chanting distant cries. Through the arches sorrow sighs. Gargoyles watch with stony gaze, guardians of endless maze. Pipe organ's breath begins to rise, filling air with mournful ties. Whispering shadows, secrets keep in the depths where night meets sleep. Underneath the velvet gloom, guardians of the haunted room.
Good morning slash afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday and I'm early, and also I stole Lictor, who's trying to tell me things about book series ending after they should have. Hi, Lictor.
Yes. Hey, Ren. Hi. Yes, I was rambling.
You were telling me
Uh,
things about books.
yes. I really like the book series for the first 10 books. Books? That's a lot of books to go into a series to finally get disillusioned about.
Yes.
And I'm like, we're so close. You could have stuck the landing, but why? Why can't we? Well,
I mean, there is an important book-related thing there, but for people asking in chat, yes, we're starting an hour early. We are in the, well, yeah, only 40 minutes early. We are in Subathon at the moment. This is the last week of Subathon as September winds its way to an end. So we've had some unusual scheduling this month, and there's an awful lot of extra stuff coming up this weekend. You've got me till normal time, and then Striker and Bulk as usual. But Saturday, Sunday, expect to see extra programming and fun stuff. And yeah, you've got us for an extra 40 minutes today. It is also not afternoon in all the places that count. It's still morning where I am, damn it. This is my stream, so clearly that's important, right? Right?
I'm staring at you from the black darkness from my window where it's 9 p.m. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, dear.
Yeah, we do grab you at ridiculous hours for you. I'm very glad you choose to join me.
It's good time.
Yeah, we
No matter
just deal
what
with
time
it.
is good time. Yes. So, Yeah, I was rambling about books that should really stick to the ending and didn't. So,
Yes,
if you please.
that brings us around to one of the things that I'm always happy to rant about writing wise, which is the importance of the words the end and the fact that modern media has completely um, overlooked that, lost sight of that.
I am. Yeah. Like when the character literally sits down at the seat of God and says, I run the universe now. That's a pretty good point to end the story.
Yeah, it's not really the hugest amount of places you can go from there, admittedly.
I literally write the rules of the universe now. I am sitting in the seat of God,
And now
not
there will be more stuff.
figuratively. And now they want more stories. I don't mind the mustached dragon telling us about his bakery, but it feels like we're moving away from the core of the series here.
Yeah, especially if you've been building up to that. Corbin, in terms of your OC, we'll get to this in a second. First things first, Chaotic Hammer has just subscribed at tier 1. They're on a 42-month streak. Oh my god. You have made decisions, Chaotic Hammer, but thank you for being here. And it has, in fact, been that long. So, what Lictor's talking about, if your character arc is I'm starting from this point and we've gotten all the way to the point where I'm now God, you're kind of going to start cheapening the series by going on from there. The thing with your character, Corvin, is that he started out ridiculously OP, and that was the point, is how do you make a ridiculously OP character compelling? If you start from there, if you start from this person is God, this person is very powerful, that this person can do this, that, and the other, and your character development and the story that you're telling is how are they compelling despite that, you've still got a story. But you can't do that if your entire 10 books previously have been building up to that point. At this point, please just write a different series. It's very
Yes.
important to have the end where it brings the most satisfaction to the reader. And incidentally, this is something that I learned through spending time doing community writing with Corbin and the other people that I learnt to write with. He did start ridiculously OP, even despite having purple hair. It wasn't necessarily expressed yet, but I remember the genetic structure of your character, Corbin, so you're not going to swing that one past me. Me of all people. We just, needed to discover the full depths of his insanity, which we did over the course of more years than either of us is willing to admit happened. But one of the things I did in my first sort of big forays into communal writing, which was with Corbin, Iden, William, and all the people who have for some reason put up with me for so very many years at this point, I introduced an antagonist into the setting that we were playing with. And initially he was very fun, and we got to do a lot of cool stuff with that. And of course you're working with the communal storytelling way of doing things where you've got input coming in from many different places, just like we do on this stream for Shoal. But I was still learning to write and going through all those early stages that artists go through as you develop your craft. And the problem that I came up with was, or I came to realize later on, was the antagonist that I'd put in, I didn't have a definitive way of allowing there to be satisfaction in the conclusion of that and how he got dealt with, and then we moved on to other things afterwards. He didn't get dealt with in a way that was satisfying universally, and I also made the mistake of bringing him back when I shouldn't have, because that cheapened various things. And although this character's still floating around, and to a certain degree I don't regret many things because it's all part of the learning process, and was its own unique setting and things going on, I learned an awful lot from the mistakes I made along the way, and I did things with that character that I would never do in writing that I'm doing today, because I learnt those lessons, and that you need to have a satisfying the end. When you get to the point where the message and theme and obstacles that you intended for your narrative have all been expressed, and either overcome or dealt with or reconciled or changed into the new form that brings you to the conclusion of the story, you need to stop. Even if you're like, well, I could do this or I could do that, you need to stop, because it gives people satisfaction, it brings things to a meaningful end, and it allows you to move into something new without those hang-ups. And it's always better to have a reader in a position of, I really loved this series, the only downside was that it had to end. It's much better to have a reader think that than to be there thinking, yeah, I really enjoyed this series up until this point, but then I wish they'd stopped here because the thing that they're going to talk about is the disappointment afterwards. They're not going to talk about all the cool things you did previously. It's okay for things to end and to regret that. Doc, go to sleep. I'm glad you had a terrible time. You kind of deserved it. Of course, you also didn't deserve it. But please, go and get yourself some sleep. You have earned some sleep.
Yes. You may have sleep. Your daily allotted sleep is assigned to you. Do not give it to anyone else.
So,
If the Fae knock on your door and ask for your sleep, do not give it away. It is yours.
yes, and you should
Use
enjoy
it only personally.
So for anybody who's here who doesn't know what's been going on over the last few weeks at this point, the deep lore of the current WBPL 76 ongoing overarching storyline, Doctor Who bought me a book. He bought me a book called Hungry Like the Wolf, which is a Battletech romance book, and it's really bad. And so in retaliation, the wonderful OK Mo of piratical fame decided to buy Doctor Who's the Chef the Twilight House, the Cullen House from Twilight, in Lego form for Doctor Who to have to make on stream, which he has been doing over the last few days. And I believe you finished it today, didn't you, Doc? And yeah, the Cullen House is awful. It's awful in the book. It's awful as Lego. It's just awful. And now poor Doctor Who has to find somewhere to put the bloody thing. Now he's put it together.
We love each other very much.
Yes.
We appreciate each other and we support each other with all our hearts. Also, don't look under your bed. It's definitely not a landmine.
Or Apocalypse Jim. Yeah, and the sort of side quest that went on during all this lore over the last couple of weeks is Neff decided to send me a book as well, and we talked about that last time. So yeah, I have a collection of terrible books that the BPL keep inflicting upon me, and then I inflict them upon you, chat.
Exactly. Hello, Wilf. Welcome back.
Yep, we are doing an early start today, Wilf, because we are in the September subathon. I'm not planning on doing anything particularly interesting until we hit normal time, so that people who haven't realised I've gone live early don't miss the important stuff. So we're just kind of here wittering at the minute. Oh, God,
Yes.
Corbin, you know me too well, so if you've got a book that you think you should send me, it's going to be like the worst book ever.
I mean, now all you did was make it a challenge.
Yeah.
Which at this point I have to wonder. Nah, it's not a wonder. It's going to be fun.
Other than
What have you got?
Aiden, Corbin knows me better than just about anybody on the planet and knows all of my secrets, so I have to tread very carefully because he does know the deep lore and remembers when I was a young adult, so we have to be careful around Corbin. He's very dangerous.
Now you've piqued my curiosity. Move ahead.
Of course, the other side of that double-edged sword is I also remember when he was a young adult, so...
Good.
If you
Sounds
cannot
like
make it to the Pacific Northwest for shenanigans at the current time, that is not an issue, Doctor Who. We will figure it out for a different time when it does all line up, when things suit us both. This is not a problem. I would love to hang out with you, and we will figure it out. We were young once, Corbin, once, a long, long time ago.
The fields were greener. The sun was brighter.
Yes. He knows where the bodies are buried. Metaphorical question mark. No comment. I plead the fifth. I live in America now. I can do that. So yeah, we figured we'd start a bit early and just have a bit of wittering about writing before we do important things. We are planning on doing our Latical Mentor character development today, so that will be fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. And
Excellent.
yeah.
We also, I can mumble about what I did with Ed. We've talked a little bit about show, or we can just chat about the fact that we are now having a zealot of a priest on our ship who's lugging around a Sororitas chainsaw while yelling with people with a loud halo as a method of communication.
Yes, so for anybody who's not
so
aware, Lictor is going to be running a rogue trader game for Aiden, Squick, myself, and one of his friends. And we've rolled characters. We kind of let the dice tell us what we were doing.
We've rolled characters. We haven't built characters. We've rolled.
Yes, and we're now beginning to make sure to record it. I think we're intending to, because I think it's going to be rather fun and interesting, especially as we have Squick playing the tech priest. His name is Reject Echo. I foresee nothing strange happening in this game, honest. The dice have decided... Go on.
So long as it doesn't find the emotional core, everything will be above board.
That needs to be literally like his subquest, is we need to find the emotional core for the photocopier printer mummy in the Duplicatarum, so that we can have Squick romance the photocopier. It will be hilarious.
It is his personal quest. I just, it's in there. I have the map. I haven't...
You know where it is! Oh no!
Of course, X marks the spot. The only question is when and how will he find it? And of course, how will he choose to install it in place?
I'm sure Toner is going to explode everywhere. It will be very funny. UNC Samurai, I am not dignifying that with a response.
I don't even know what these words mean.
So yeah, we've got Squick playing the tech priest. The dice have decided, as they always do for me when I'm playing 40k games, that I will play an assassin. So that's happening. I haven't figured out any sort of unique foibles for this one yet. My last assassin I played was in a Dark Heresy game, and she became known as the Space Dragonborn because she just shouted everything into submission. It was amazing. She was probably a chosen of Khorne without knowing it, and we didn't get far enough to find out, but we had some fun with that game, so I'm looking forward to this one.
And Aiden wanted to play Face, and
Yes.
he rolled a Zealot.
Yes.
From a Shrine World.
Yes.
And the line we took from it is the line from the original Dawn of War game, where you had Ecclesiarch in the Imperial Guard expansion pack, which when you take him off the vehicle, yells loudly, "I will walk now."
Yes. There are several lines I remember from the original Dawn of War games. One of them is the "I will walk now." Another one was the "Where's the truck? Why's I walking?" And what was the other one? We captured it for Chaos. Those were like the three lines.
I like the med doc. Like, "This will hurt, but you'll be better," when he talks to the orcs. When he talks to the enemies, "This will hurt a lot." He's just like, it's kind of percussive maintenance.
Yes, the
for the enemy
way.
or for percussive maintenance.
Okay, so to answer some of the things in chat, Von Falkenstein, I never said that she was a sneaky assassin. She was an assassin, but she was the space dragonborn. She didn't have to sneak around, and she took skulls, and with the help of the friendly neighborhood tech priest from that game, who was making bombs in the bathtub any time that the party scum wasn't making turbo meth. So we had fun. The photocopier mummy from this game is neither an abominable intelligence nor a servitor. It's another tech priest that's like connected to the photocopier and just is the photocopier and is thus known as Copier Mummy. And
Yes.
Squick has a submission to romance her, whether he knows it or not.
Yes. Yes, that is entirely correct.
Oh yes, do you hear the
Hornus-
voices too? Was another classic line from that game. Yes.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. The game had so much character in the voice lines somehow.
Yes.
It was a good game. What is this? Romance? Well, it has to be mentioned that the photocopy machine is a dark age of technology archaeotech. It's not some basic cogitator stuff that you can let a servitor do. You have to carefully and meticulously mix in the correct unguents to create a correct ink. Otherwise, the photocopier will not work.
Yes.
I mean, have you tried printing without enough magenta? That's not gonna fly.
But I only want to print in black and white. You must fill the magenta. Also low on cyan.
Yeah. Also. Yes. Yes. No comments. 10 out of 10.
This game is going to be ridiculous, and I am very looking forward to going through it. And yes, it's going to be fun.
I mean, we are going to start. I already have a name for the first session.
Oh boy, what is the name for the first session?
Birthdays and Lederhosen.
Excellent. We're starting with the birthday on the ship.
Yes. After all the work we've done to Captain Klappenheimer
Yes.
and the Lederhosen,
Yes.
I mean, how can I not?
Excellent. This will be wonderful.
We have done some work
We have.
to make it. I feel like the warp is overtaking. No, the warp does not overtake you. It's just your take a mint. That's all. You're fine. Okay, so that is going to be a fun thing to do.
Yes. Yes, and I'm
what
sure there will be
else?
tales told of it, and there will be recordings that I imagine that we'll do some editing on and release somewhere at some time, and inflict that upon people who want to hear it, because it should be a good time.
Yeah, it should be. I agree. Let it be good terms.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
So,
And certainly I have been
so-
inspired.
I can hear you.
Excellent. My internet just jumped out. Has that completely killed stream, or did it reload quick enough? Because if it
No, Strem broke.
Strem broke, will Strem come back up?
We back.
We're back. Excellent. Apologies about that. My internet just decided that it needed to, leave to get cigarettes and milk for a few minutes, but it did come back. So, we were very grateful. I'm very sorry about that, chat. What were we talking
it
about
was-
when it broke?
We were talking about fun to be had.
Yes.
I was mumbling about the fact that I need to get a few maps done, and I want to get Storm Song to record a few lines because he has
Oh
this
boy.
one wonderful mixer. He already mixed the Space Marine voice and the Tech Priest voice. he gave me a showing of that, and I want to use that a bit. So you guys can get voxed from planets.
Oh wow, that's going to be really fun. It's going to be really really fun. Speaking of tech
Yeah.
priesty things, yeah, would anybody like to see the work that got unveiled yesterday for Ether? Because he did ask me to do a tech priesty kind of thing.
Yes.
Whilst we are in this extra time that we have today, let me.
Samurai. Untasty.
Let me go and find where I hid it. It will be in here. Which one do we want? I think I'll just grab this one. There we go. And then we'll need to make it the right size. There we go. So, Ether, our resident booze wizard, approached me a little while ago and was like, hey, I'd like to have an icon of my booze wizard self, and I have some ideas, and Servo Skull with the Disney wizard hat. And thus we ended up here. And we have a wonderful, ridiculous Servo Skull with all of the
stream
alcohol.
seems to have broken again.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
really.
Right now, my internet is telling me I am
Oh,
good.
no, it's working. It's working.
Oh, good.
It was my bad. I was the bad one.
Good, good. I'm glad
My
it has
This is good.
not
This is
murdered
good.
itself. Yeah, the Brewer's
Yes.
Apprentice, yeah, something like that. I'm very excited as well because one, Ether's very pleased with this, which makes me happy because this whole idea was his. He's like, "Oh, you did amazing work," and I'm like, I literally just drew what you already came up with. He was like, "I want a servo skull. I want the Disney sorcerer's hat, and also here are a variety of drink bottles and mixing equipment. And can you stick those on mechadendrites for me?" And I was like, "Yes, I can." And so I just drew what he told me to draw. All of this creativity is his. But at the meetup this year, it doesn't have Malort because I'm terrified that if I put Malort in there, Ether might try and, feed me some. Because we are going to the meetup this year and we're going to be staying in the same location as Ether while we're there and then sharing accommodations. So I'm very pleased to have made Ether happy.
Yes.
No,
It might get you some.
I don't want Malort. I'll try it once because it's the initiation and it has to happen. But after that, no more Malort ever.
Please, no more.
Please, sir, no Malort. I'll draw it, but I won't drink it.
Reasonable. To a degree.
So yeah, we did that. We did that. And then a really fun thing I got to do with it, let me flick this over, is I did a blacklight version as well.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeet friend and
Now we
enter.
can-
Malort? Corbin is trying to tell me that I have to make up for the fact that he doesn't drink anymore and there's an imbalance. I'm willing to drink. I'm willing to drink more than I probably should, but just not Malort. I will balance the force with other things.
Why are we balancing the force?
Because we must.
I-
And if
I-
I'm
I
drunk,
know
I
it's
will
a
probably
religion in the
annoy
UK,
Corbin
but-
over text, and that would be fine.
Okay. No, this I can live with. Again, balancing force. We've tried balancing the force. We've seen where it got us. The sequels.
Right, let us...
And that's my entire opinion on the subject.
Yes, that is the only opinion. Nothing more need be said.
We've tried to bring balance to the force. We've seen what it got us. Can we go unbalanced again? Thank you. That was my TED talk.
And Corbin has headed off to the gym. I hope it goes well, Corbin. You have fun too. You're not going to win the next fight against me, though. One way or another, that's not happening.
I need to go do a swim again.
It will be the tiebreaker, so, my entire pride is on the line. And will be my motivating force for actually, doing some fitness in the coming days and getting myself back in shape now that I no longer have the excuse of moving cross continent anymore and it being too hot because Florida. I don't have these problems anymore, so there's no excuse not to get fit.
Okay.
So
So,
it must happen, and spite should be the driving emotion, as it always is. Driving emotions are very important for all endeavours, including creative ones, and spite is mine. 90% of what I do is out of pure spite.
well, if it gets you done, observes the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, it does.
The wonderful Sir Terry Pratchett, his motivating emotion for creative stuff was anger, being angry at how unfair the world was, but it didn't have to be. Negative emotions can be a wonderful positive force in the world if you use them correctly.
Agreed.
I think the biggest negative emotion going around these days is probably frustration and being fed up. So I do encourage people to channel it into doing something that will bring you pleasure and joy.
And hopefully harm as few people as possible along the way.
I'll just cover over the section of war crimes we wrote for Shoal again, then, shall I? Just pretend that's not there.
Yes, please. I mean, Zork here, I don't want him to feel excluded.
It's going to be really fun when we get to the point where we're like, okay, we've got the compendium in a nice visual format that we can now share with people who haven't been part of the streams and don't know what's going on. We need to do an acknowledgement section at the back where we sort of list out the references that we've put in here and the people who've been mostly involved. And there's just going to be a section that's like, war crimes with thanks to Zork, Introspective 90, etc., etc. And people are like, what?
What? You included what exactly?
Yeah, there's a section you can find if you go to the contents page. There's a subsection that just goes straight to war crimes.
It's right next to the drugs, beneficial and otherwise.
Yes, yeah, we did do that. You did hear your name. I was saying that when we get to the point where we have to start doing acknowledgements at the end of the compendium of people who have significantly helped to create everything that is Shoal under war crimes, there's going to be you and Zork and various other people.
Well, you did it. I mean, you were there. You can't say you were just following orders.
I mean, everything's chat's fault. Nothing's ever my fault.
I mean, yes.
This is the law. I didn't do it. It was chat's fault. Chat made me do it.
I mean,
Chat stuck their foot out and I tripped and fell down the stairs and there were war crimes at the bottom. It wasn't my fault.
fair, I think. Is it? Not sure. Does it have to be fair? Not really. Okay, good.
Nemecha, the existence of the Canadian goose in general is just nature saying that she also has war crimes and isn't afraid to use them.
I mean, we've all heard about predatory germs, right?
Yes.
War crimes are the way of nature to say hello. I'm home, and you haven't left a kettle on the stove like I asked you.
Yeah, it's just that the goose is a lot louder and more menacing. And also capable of being sneaky, which just should not be allowed. Basically, I'm saying geese are overpowered. They need a nerf.
Geese are, yes. I mean, just observe the Canadians. That should tell you all about it.
Mm-hmm.
They somehow evolved to survive in the same zoological niche. I have questions. However, I will voice them in French.
That way the geese can't understand. We've solved it, that's why. It's to get around the goose problem.
Precisely. I mean,
thank you, Night Owl. That is the most important quote of mine that will ever exist on this channel.
Well, maybe. There's the one where I proclaimed you being reverse Jesus.
Yes, that is also a thing.
Yes. Well, everybody needs to have a hobby. being the reverse messiah is one of them.
I mean, you can have a lot more fun being the bad guy, is all I'm going to say. It might be, a shorter lifespan, but you do get to have a lot more fun.
I'm really the bad guys, though.
I like the bad guys. I've had that problem ever since I was young. I've always found the bad guys more interesting.
Okay, yeah, I be honest. I have a childish, perhaps, hope for people to do things out of reasonable reasons, as in
Hmm.
they're looking what they're doing, at least they're thinking about it, not doing it out of um, incomprehensible malice.
Yeah.
Malice is not a good motivation for a character.
So we get into some interesting things there because there has been in recent years a really big issue with all media having redeemable villains in it, or a lot of media, predominance of media having redeemable villains in it, which in itself is not a bad thing. Certainly, villains should always, or nearly always, there's going to be a caveat. Villains should nearly always have a motivation for why they're doing what they're doing. If they're just being evil because I want to be evil, you're kind of straying into Saturday morning cartoon territory there, which when you're just aiming something at kids and it's not that deep and it's a villain of the week, them just being evil because they're evil is fine because of, what is the message that you're delivering, who is your intended audience, etc., etc. That's fine. But when you're in sort of more adult, more complex storytelling, the bad guy should at least be understandable. And unfortunately, that does seem to have become in recent years that if the bad guy is understandable, that also means he's redeemable. And no, that isn't how people work. And it ends up making a lot of stories feel very samey. Not all villains are redeemable. You might understand how they got to where they are, but they're still wrong. There's still something fundamentally incorrect with them that they're willing to take the actions that they're taking, even if you understand why they might have had that thought in the first place. Putting that thought into action is where they've gone from being a troubled person to a villain, and, the villain is there to be defeated or explored or etc. And not everybody is redeemable. Sometimes people have gone too far. Sometimes the consequences for the actions you took, no matter why you decided to take them, are things you cannot recover from. It's why we are able to put people in prison for life. If you kill somebody, you can't take that back. It doesn't go away. However, I did also say there was a caveat. There are times where I feel if the story warrants it and if the message is correct and you're doing something that's worthwhile with it, there are times where it is appropriate to have somebody who was just effectively born evil or born wrong, somebody who just doesn't have that empathy chip, that logic chip installed in them, because that is something we see in reality. We have people who have extreme cluster B personality disorders or all sorts of things going on, who are not able to perceive that other people experience the world the same way they do, and the way that they therefore approach the world is very different because they don't have that empathy for other human beings, and it allows them to have inhibitions that the majority of the populace just doesn't have. If you have a story that's about someone like that who is just irredeemably evil for the sake of it, you can do something interesting with it, but you have to go into the story with the plan that we are going to, this is the way this character is, and this is why I want to write about them. This is why they're in the story. This is what I want to explore using this character type. And you have to go somewhere with it. If they're just there and they're evil for the sake of being evil, just because you couldn't be bothered to put the effort in, or it's just to serve to try and make the hero look better, it's going to be a bad story. But if you put the effort into it to think about, well, this character is just evil and this is why, I think they can be compelling.
Yes. You can do, the problem is the Toilet Mustache Friday morning cartoon. thing that
Yes. Yeah, when it's
isn't.
shallow and, only would work if it was for a child. Yes.
I mean, I don't mind. You know what? If I am going to write a fairy story and I need to let people know just how not understanding humans they are, for instance, this is perfect. By giving you a Fae and then presumably letting them monologue about how they don't understand humans because I'm doing everything they're telling each other about all the time, but they still fall in the uncanny valley. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
where you can particularly useful in things like crime stories. I mean, you just have to look at real life for stuff to draw from for that. Ted Bundy, of course, being the famous one, who just clearly just did not understand human empathy on a meaningful level, but was able to fake it and manipulate it enough with people who were not in a position to be able to see through it to achieve his own ends, and was willing to be charismatic and etc. in front of the camera, and everything through his trial. I mean, that was a real person. If you wrote that as a story before people knew that he existed, it would be considered, not necessarily
believable.
believable, but people like that exist.
Yes, yes, they do.
Is it Sheol that was
Oh,
formerly the Jewish afterlife? No, we're specifically shoal as in shoaling fish. Welcome in, Reckless Talk, first time chat. We're currently in a bit of a wittery phase at the moment before we start doing anything useful because I'm covering some extra time today. But we are building an ocean world setting where we have mecha and psionic powers. So very much a different thing. And speaking of, we are getting close to the hour, so we should do something productive with our time very shortly.
yes. Not discussing villains under position stories is anything.
No, I
Not
think even when we're
worthwhile.
wittering on this stream, we quite often, touch on important things with writing, and it is always interesting seeing what chat has to say and how they.
Yes. Chat. When we are withering about, you're allowed. What? Sheol is not the Jewish afterlife. Sheol. If you want me to ramble about Jewish mythology, I can. I have the credentials, but
You do.
just just to oversimplify, Sheol essentially means the down under. It's not where souls. There is no formal Jewish afterlife. That's the problem. So if you're trying to cobble up a Jewish afterlife, you need to start raking through books that came way after the written Bible and well into the 10th century or so, which is very much what we like to call modern Judaism.
Very
Uh,
modern. Very modern.
well, when you consider when the earlier books, the books of the
Yes. No.
Maccabees,
Yeah. You're
were
completely
written.
right. It's just conceptually, yes. Modern started in the 10th century. We say in
Exactly.
2025.
Exactly, because the Maccabees were written somewhere early early Roman history, and we're talking about before the Caesars. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's been a bit, and the entire concept of Sheol means a wave, I think.
Hmm. So all
Uh,
I'm going to take away from this conversation is that you said that there's no formal Jewish afterlife, which makes me think
that's
that that
true.
just means there's a series of informal ones that you're allowed to turn up to with a t-shirt on.
You are so in you're so on the nail with it. There are at the very least 7 different afterlives.
And
At
we're allowed to
least
wear t-shirts?
you are required to wear different things. Some of them look like t-shirts. Some of
Fabulous. I
them.
love it.
I'll get to it. One moment. Sure, Eric. By all means. Sure, you've seen both of the drawings and aspects of it. I believe I have. Do any of them allow pets? You are. you are allowed scorpions in one, so long as they're over 7,000 miles long. That you
I
were
have
definitely allowed
questions, but
that.
I'm terrified of the answers, so I'm not going to ask them.
The 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 exactitude of distances and sizes of what's in the various Gehinnom and Sheol parts is somewhat terrifying and mostly Spanish. Um, but this is me rambling on something else. What? So one Afrolinkians and one a Tarrasque. No, Tarrasque. Okay, Tarrasque, as we all know, is a herbivorous French creature.
Hmm.
Which you know that it's a herbivorous creature because it has spines all over it, and that is that is a defense mechanism of herbivorous creatures like porcupine. So what you need to ask yourself is what eats Tarrasque that they need to develop evolutionary spines to deal with them, and that brings you to what lives in Jewish shale.
In our defense, Night Owl, we might be blaming the French right now, but we also did realize that the French have learned the secrets to dealing with geese, which is speaking French. So, you know,
I
we've been on both sides of the scales with the French today.
I mean, Night Owl, I'm going to be honest with you right now. As a historian, go dig up where the Tarrasque myth came up, where the name is from, and you'll find out it's Southern France.
I mean, it is a very
It's a
French word.
it is a French myth.
All right, I'm going to step away
So
for just a second and use the restroom, and when I come back, we will maybe look at some useful show things, because it is time. It is time. I will be right back.
what the French in me is reeling. Those of you who don't know, I am a French national, though though I do not actually speak a lick of French. So, you know, there's the thing. Um, so what was that? Robot Lictor intro. Am I coming along better now? Um, Eric, send me a link so I can review it. I'll take a look in a moment.
I return.
Wow. Hello. Uh, am I still a robot, chat?
I hope not, but if you are, I blame Twitch/OBS because you've been fine on my end.
Okay.
If you make a
British
mistake
host.
with imitation goose liver, is it a foie gras faux pas? Eric, out! Out!
Okay, no longer a robot. Very monkey.
Apparently
Okay,
only a robot during the exclamation of the Tarrasque, so clearly it was a French conspiracy.
yes, of course. Not the Jewish conspiracy.
Oh
this
no,
time
not a Jewish one!
around.
I mean,
No,
you're allowed to say
no.
that.
I am allowed to say
You
that.
have the
Yes.
credentials, you have permission. I do
I
not.
do have the credentials. I am taking my son to his bar mitzvah soon.
Oh, I hope he has a lovely time.
So what? He's training very hard.
Aw.
Anyway, with that in mind, yes, we are I am in the most exalted of company.
Yeah, chat. We can
Yes,
blame them
I
for everything. They're the best company.
yes, yes. Yes. Only in the yes, I'm afraid. I did have a biologist. I do still have a friend who's a biologist who did her doctorate or part of her doctorate using the dragons from D&D as a trying to prove that the way they uh, computate clades of animals does it works on any large enough amount of samples, and she decided to use dragons from D&D as her test subject.
That's
She's a
amazing.
doctor now,
That is
and she's
fantastic. I love
probably in
that.
Chile now, giving out a lecture about it.
I love that. That's so cool. I'm looking
It's
out
like,
on my shelf. I've got, so I've got my main desk where everything's on, and then I've got like a side desk next to me that's bolted to the wall that's got
Mhm.
various art supplies, and most predominantly it's got all of my art books on there of art that I absolutely love, and that next year I am determined to spend some time trying to learn how to replicate some of it. So I've got like a book by H.R. Geiger, I've got The Art of Thief 2014, because regardless of what you think of the story, the environment design just aesthetically was very interesting in that game. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, Devil May Cry 5 official art book, Dark Souls. But I've got on top of it one of the oldest art books that I own, and it's called The Book of the Dragon, and it's by Montse, and it was illustrated to go along with all of this stuff. And what they did was they made a series of dragon illustrations to classify dragons. They had like the water dragon, the lava dragon, the salamander, sort of, fire dragon stereotype, earth dragons, etc. And they sort of set, what features were consistent across all different ones, what environments they lived in. It's sort of like a dragonology book, yes, and it had some short stories that they wrote that were in there. And I got this book when I was 10, which was quite some time ago at this point, and I've had it ever since, and it's been one of those books that's always gone with me because it was one of the books that just lit up my imagination, and possibly, was one of those things that helped inspire me to be interested in world building, because they weren't only drawing cool things, they were also, trying to classify them and give them lore behind them and why, different things are the way that. Yes, nearly a full decade ago. I'm definitely that young, Wilf. Good job. You're on the Christmas card list. So I still have that book, and it's sat over on my shelf, and they did do some classifications, but I don't think they thought about it in terms of, spines and diet. I think they came at it from a different direction, but they were also using concepts of like camouflage. And baby fire dragons look like salamanders. And then there's like a whole section in there of how to tell the difference between a salamander and a very young baby fire dragon. It was a very cool book.
I need to find you the alchemical formula I used during my degree to explain how Eastern Christianity thought about how to make steel.
Hmm.
And you needed to turn newts into salamanders using some half transcribed Jewish description of the four mythological beasts. It,
Oh
it was
man, science has an
wild.
interesting history.
Yes, it was a wild time to make metals.
Yes. Yes, I have
Okay.
read some of the ology books. I no longer am in possession of any of them, but I do remember reading them some time ago. Wolf says Monster Hunter does a really good job of having some sort of biological system behind a lot of the monsters. Yes, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is a wonderful series on YouTube. Somebody went through and basically did a nature documentary of each of the zones from Monster Hunter World and the ecology of each of those zones and how the different monsters, from the smaller monsters to the big ones, all fit into it. The only issue I have with that series is, unfortunately, the guy narrating it, his voice gets on my nerves, which is not his fault. He's done nothing wrong. It's just there's something in his cadence that just irritates me. But the actual work he put into that series, and the detail he went into, drawing from what, of course, Capcom built with World, it's fascinating. So if you've never seen it, look up Monster Hunter documentary on YouTube, and you should be able to find it. Monster Hunter Nature documentary. But it's really good. It might be Curious Archive, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the point of Elder Dragons. They do not fit. Elder Dragons, Monster Hunter is fascinating because the whole concept of, yes, we have a world and humans live in it and it's very dangerous and we've got all of these sort of megafauna and we're playing with that concept. But then on top of that, we've also just got these things we're calling Elder Dragons because they're forces of nature that just defy all of the established rules. The only unifying rule from one Elder Dragon to the next is that they don't follow the rules that they should do. And they periodically turn up and cause chaos, and here is an enormous sword. Go and beat them over the head with it and turn them into a new hat. And so you do. It's fabulous.
I would really want at some point explain. I they've done it in the past. I want them to explain why hunters are the way they are, because it is teased in the games that hunters are not particularly human, which is emphasized by the sort of stuff they regularly do. And the universe has all these clearly supernatural things, like the Waverians and their magical stuff.
The only
And
concern I would have there is if they ever tell us the full story, other than the things that are hinted at and the little bits that are revealed. I've just got this horrible feeling that if we knew the full story, we'd end up disappointed. I kind of like the mystery.
yeah, but yes, you know what? Fine. 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 I'll take it.
It's one of those things where you should absolutely be curious about it, but it's one of those. It's a Pandora's box. I'm very curious about it, but I'm also very concerned that if I ever got to open this box, I would regret it entirely.
I don't trust them to do a good job with their own franchise. I agree with that.
Yeah. Of all the big AAA studios, Capcom is one of the less egregious in terms of some of the things that it does, so long as you're not looking at the fighting game genre. We won't talk about what they get up to with Street Fighter and all of that nonsense, but in terms of, you know, their storytelling games, Capcom's not a horrific company, and I tend to have a good time with them. But yeah, I think this is one of those things where if you knew the recipe, you'd no longer be as excited about the outcome.
Agreed.
One of these days, maybe we'll do it as a Christmas special. We're going to talk about the Devil May Cry series. And
we need to.
Yes, why Capcom is absolutely genius.
Well, they managed a perfect game, so, you know.
They've managed to give me an experience that I'm very grateful that I was able to have, which was the Devil May Cry 5 reveal. There's times in life where you'll come across something and you're like, I feel like this was made specifically aimed at me. And the Devil May Cry 5 reveal, I feel, was like aimed at me specifically. Of course, it was aimed at everybody else who was in the same boat I was, but yes. Erica, if you'll drop that link in chat, I'll pin it so that anybody who's interested can click on it, and yeah, we'll do that. So if you don't mind dropping that link, I will pin it for a short while.
I want to say that archive. I wasn't aware it existed.
Devil May Cry 5, Virgil's second salty run back. No comment. Devil May Cry 5 is... the Devil May Cry series, sorry, not just 5, but the whole series is really interesting from a creative standpoint, from how the series came to be, to what they did with their storytelling, how they've iterated upon it, how they shifted with how things were changing over time. Even the missteps they made are interesting, both in why they made them, what they did about them, and where it went from there, and how they turned what was effectively one of the worst decisions they could have made into one of the best decisions they could have made a decade later. And Christmas, maybe we'll do a Devil May Cry Christmas special where I just bang on and on and on and on about Devil May Cry, and people who are thoroughly sick of it and not interested will have Christmas things to go and do to get away from me. There you go. How does that sound? Nobody's forced to be here. I have opinions.
You may have opinions. We're allowed. We literally put it down in your contract.
Yes, we did. Right, Shoal. We need to do some Shoal things.
Yes, what call it? Shoal exists.
It does.
In our hearts.
In our hearts, in our minds, and scarily, it now exists on paper too. Right,
yes.
So.
And then go ahead.
Last week, we were having a look at our first character we wanted to make for the story that we're going to be writing, and I'm trying to figure out where I hid. Oh, I know what I did with it. It's down here.
Mr. Jake.
Yes, so we'd started out detailing... Okay, so I'm going to do a very quick recap for the few people who are here. Please have pity on the mods. I will try. I will try.
We'll have pity somewhere, squirrel away.
I mean, it could be worse. It could have been last night's stream where you had both Gummy and I at the same time, which was probably the worst decision.
I can find a few worse decisions, I bet. Coupled up with a 7,000 miles long scorpion.
Okay, so for anybody who has maybe missed where we've gotten to with Shoal, we've got most of our world built. We have a good understanding of how things work. We've got a lot of places set out, and we're now building up to actually start writing our first communal story in Shoal, where we're going to all work together and try and write an actual novel, which is probably one of the strangest ideas. Is, you know, yes, we're going to do a community written novel over Twitch, but, you know, we're going to make it work. So we've already decided that we're going to be writing a pulp action novel, that it's going to be in a similar vein to Indiana Jones and the Mummy and that sort of thing. That we are going to have a scientific expedition heading to a abandoned city that's long since been abandoned, to do some research and see if they can find either any old Temps coral that's still existing, or just do some, you know, research and study onto what happened in this ancient ruin. We're going to have a human attached to the expedition, and that was the person that we started detailing last week, that they're going to be investigating the city having been eradicated by a attack from the Quiet, which is one of our ecological disasters that can hit societies on Shoal. But when they start dealing with the issue and they find that, you know, there's still Quiet issues in the area, and they deal with that, it unleashes a greater problem that the Quiet was keeping dormant. They then have to deal with that greater problem, and that's going to be our sort of story arc that we're going through. So last week we sat down to start giving some proper detail out to our first character, which was our human. We decided we'd start with him because he's going to be the most relatable inroad for the audience to understand the world that we've built. We decided that he would be our unwitting inciting actor that causes the bad thing in the story to happen as we hit the sort of peak of the pyramid of our 5-act structure we've laid out. He's a scientist. He's in his mid to late 30s. He has a doctorate. He's interested in coral reefs and biodiversity. This has brought him to Shoal, where he is now attached to this expedition. He is psionically active, which for a human is very rare, but in Shoal standards, he's an incredibly weak psion. But he's going to be spending some time learning from his mentor, which will be the laticle we're detailing today. We decided that he was very much about his work, that he has an underlying concern about causing issues to ecological environments that he goes to, especially now that he's on an alien planet with a completely alien ecology, and this is based on something that happened in his past. We also decided that he'd hold the Shoaly races on a little bit of a rose-tinted pedestal. He holds them as being, you know, a bit more refined than humans are, and that will be something that we explore through the course of the narrative. He's a very good analyst. He has good common sense. We've decided that we're absolutely going to steer clear of ever having an idiot ball turn up in the plot. At no point will our plot have something happen because people just decided to be stupid to allow the plot to happen. He's quite critical of people who don't rise to their responsibility, so he's a very responsible person himself. We decided that he'd distract himself from emotional pain by being productive as he works through things. The top 3 things he valued in life is curiosity, the people he trusts, and that he has a familiar with him that I know Lichter and Ed were talking about off stream. And he trusts that very much. He's very attached to his coffee mug that he brought from Earth. And yeah, his goals are to, you know, find a place to fit in on Shoal and, you know, do something meaningful with his work. We also decided, or I should say that chat was very kind and agreed to the name for him. We've named him Jacob, Jake for short. after a family member who passed away very recently, who, I was asking to memorialise in our text, as we have done prior with Benny. So Jake is also going to be a little bit of an homage. And then we chose the surname Salaval, I think is how that's pronounced. I'm not sure. But because he's of Polynesian descent, we wanted to pull from some Polynesian theming. So that was where we got to last week. We each take turns to write a word at a time. If we wrote a novel that way, I'm terrified of what would come out. Absolutely terrified. All right, let's get rid of that. Oh, I didn't mean to delete that message. I meant to unpin it, but oh well, doesn't matter.
I'm terrified.
Yes, bad mod duties.
I'll die of old age before we're done.
Well, the problem with people writing one word at a time is you either end up with something novel length really, really quickly and nothing makes sense, or because people are trying to make it make sense, it just takes forever. So yes.
So no. How about we let you do?
Yeah, we're not going to do it that way. We're not going to do it that way. Okay, so that was our first character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring him up over on our second screen, our split screen here. And then on our first screen, we are going to need to start detailing out our Laticle, who I do have a page for them, but I haven't copied in the details. So let me go into my templates and grab that. There we go. No! God damn it, Scrivener. That's not what I want. Want all of this.
Scrivener does not care.
Scrivener's like user error. Not my fault, go away. Okay, so we'll go through the same process that we did for Jake, and we've got plenty of time to do it, and we'll see where we get to today. So we know that role in story, this character is going to be another protagonist. He's going to be one of our big three. He is the Link Deaf former Titan pilot leader figure. He's going to be our sort of, not sage wise old man, but sort of filling that sort of role of knowing a little bit more. So we know that we're looking at a Laticle. What kind of Laticle do we want to go through? What does our Laticle look like? Does he still have all 6 of his limbs? And what I should probably do is bring up an image of Laticles for anybody who doesn't remember which is which. So let me go grab an image.
Can have both Tired German and mine.
Yes.
We did different types of Laticles.
Yeah, I'm probably going to grab up Tired Germans first. So
yes, that's probably a good idea.
Here. Where is my shoal folder? Over here. Others art. And then we are going to want Laticle.
No, the stabbing is on Tuesday.
Here we go. So this is one of our sort of shore communities, which is why it says Slyworm up there, but they are a Laticle.
Yes, this is what a normal Laticle looks like.
Yeah, these are our shallows Laticles for sure. And then if I add in another one, I can bring up Lictors as well. And that will be... Where did that one get put? I'm hoping I've saved it into the right directory and I don't need to go looking for it. I think it's this one. Yes. This is our 007 Laticle, who's more based on a moray eel.
Yes. Who has...
I think you did a little bit more work on that one that I haven't saved because you turned the cup into a martini glass.
Yes, I do have it. I'll send to you in a second, a jiffy.
Excellent. Hello, Mad
yes,
Ducks. I see you've been enjoying your spicy food. That was totally normal spicy food that everybody could eat.
Absolutely. Everybody can devour I mean, if Maddox gives you food and he says that's spicy for him, just make sure to have your Geneva suggestions checked off.
It'd probably kill me.
Uh, quite possibly, yes. Medical 07. One moment. I think I will
Okay,
see
so
that.
while Lictor looks that up, what do we think about our former Titan pilot? I'm certain he's going to have some scars, but does he still have all 6 of his limbs? Bearing in mind, Laticals have 4 arms and 2 legs, and of course they have their very powerful swimming tail. And do we want to go with him being a sort of more thick, deeper water eel type or naga type? Or do we want to go for the more slender, sort of equine, dragony, willowy type, like the sly worm? Ducks has a totally normal, probably average spice tolerance. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That sentence had a high truth concentration, also methanol. Okay, I'm going to take my time and add color to it while we talk.
Go for it. Yeah, we can
Because
show it again a bit later. I'm
but,
personally leaning
but
towards having a more slender laticle than a thicker
yeah,
one, because I think that would be an interesting visual juxtaposition against our kind of gruff ceratinoid we know we want to have, who I'm imagining as being
yeah,
a bit more bulky. I think the idea of having them visually on those opposing ends will come across well in the narrative as that sort of shorthand for, when they're at loggerheads.
absolutely. I yes.
Okay.
And answer is yes.
Okay. You know what I could do? We could have some background music on while we're doing. Oh, we do have background music on. Good. I hadn't realised that that was automatically on. That is good.
I
All
sent you
right. So,
the updated version,
okay.
and
Let me.
I will get to adding some more color where it is needed.
Excellent. I'll wait till you've
Oh,
added some more on, and we'll have a look at it towards the end. But yes,
okay,
he has a
okay.
very
So
excellent martini glass. People will get to see.
yes, with a crab on the side.
You do not hear background music? I might just need to turn it up a bit then, because I'm being told by OBS that it is working. Let's give that a try and see if that works at all. And hopefully I haven't turned it up too loud. Now you hear something spacey. Excellent. That means it's working. Okay, so we are going to have a laticle. They are a slender equine type laticle, typically found in the shallows and on land, though they have spent most of their life in water as a Titan pilot. What colour skin do we want them to have?
If it's a shallow, then it should be somewhat. It could be kind of cool if it's golden,
Okay.
like a golden brown scale,
We have a
scale
golden
and scale
sheen
gold.
to the majority of their scales, with a paler underbelly.
Exactly. You got it.
Paler underbelly and a soft pink tone to their gills and fins. I'm thinking
Yes.
about sort of the frills. Frill, that's the word I want.
Yes.
Going down his back. We'll just put a nice soft sort of pink tone on this. We're sort of going with those sort of sun warm emperor tones. That will be interesting visually. And of course, this is the problem when you've got somebody who writes and draws. Is I've got 2 disciplines warring in my head at the moment.
Yes, we are fighting. The lines are drawn.
After, oh no, don't do that. Oh, you're just going to do that regardless. Fine. After a busy career as a Titan pilot, they are somewhat scarred from their years in service. What do we want them to have been in service to as a Titan pilot? Because we know we have multiple disciplines Titan pilots can go into. They can go into sort of agriculture and industry. We have the Tide Wardens, which are effectively the Titan police and peacekeeping force. We know that we have private sector, whether it be, you know, as security or guard duties for specific areas. Leviathan Hunters will also be a Titan class. Leviathan Hunters and Deterrence will probably be a specialist class. What's the mentor's purpose in the story? Okay, so our mentor in his current career is now working for one of the library banks that has funded this expedition. He is a mentor to the Titan pilot that is running the Temple Guardian Titan. And he's also mentoring the human who's come to join the expedition. He's very knowledgeable because he's going to be an older Latical at this point. He's already had a full career of service as a Titan pilot, and he only retired from that service because he became burned out after an encounter with the Silence, so he's no longer able to psionically hear things the way that he once did. He can't pilot anymore. So his job in the story is to be sort of the leader figure, the knowledgeable elder character who's got quite a lot of experience behind him, who's trying to encourage the younger generation coming up, who's going to be pretty at peace with the fact that he is, you know, deaf after his years of service, and doesn't necessarily hold horrific resentment towards that, but it is going to be, you know, an important part of his character and play into the dynamics we have going on in the story. So that's what we're sort of looking at for him. And yeah, he will be the sort of character that sets Jake on the path to helping to solve the problem, finding his confidence. He's going to be quite a sort of facilitator character for where we want our story notes to go. But in himself, he should be a pretty experienced and well-rounded character and capable of leading an expedition. Polychromatic Gothdrop says that they think we were talking about them being a Tide Warden, so their time in service would have been as a Tide Warden. If we said that, I don't remember it, but I'm totally on board with it. And if they were a Tide Warden... Yeah, go on, what's your suggestion?
If he would have been a psionic relay Titan operator, one of those Titans that are more command and control.
Okay.
And the reason he got burned, that he got backlash from channeling way too much, over such a short time, that the backlash caused him for the deafness. This ties it all together. He used to be in a command and control, not necessarily the general, but yes, the person linked with the Titan whose business is talking with all the other Titans in the field.
This makes a lot of sense for the positions we're going to put him in, because that gives him a reason why he's got burnt out. That gives him a helper personality, even in his background. You know, he's a facilitator, capable of handling large amounts of information and relaying it. That all works into his character type. It also will allow him to feel that sort of being at peace with being burnt out. The way he got burnt out was in helping so many others. Yeah, okay. Erica says, in that case, can I recommend Faded Blue Scales? I've associated song with blue, so he might be looking for pieces of the noted law as a way to restore his psionic hearing. I feel like he's not necessarily going to be worried about restoring his psionic hearing. The way I sort of see him in my head as the character he'll need to be the sort of anchor for the entire group is that he's probably going to be pretty at peace with himself.
He's done enough.
Yes.
He doesn't have the urge to get back in the saddle. He's done enough. He's done his piece. Now let someone else take the mantle and go on the offensive.
Okay, so let's put these notes in. Some of these notes will need to get moved later, but let me put them in so I've got them. He worked as a Tide Warden in his younger years, with his Titan operating as a relay and communications mech as part of the Tide Warden informative service. When a silence outbreak near one of the major cities called his unit into action, he ended up burned out psionically from relaying so many messages over so short a time. This action, I can't spell today, this action, while it crippled him, allowed for the successful salvation of the communities under threat, and thus he is at peace with his disability. He has since taken his knowledge, capacity to handle information, and archiving into the library bank system, where he now operates as a adventurer librarian, taking charge of retrieval, archival, and investigation of library bank interests. This has led him to being both chief of the current expedition and also a mentor to the Temple Guardian pilot, who is a younger operator. It is also why he was willing to take on a human student. As part of this expedition. He is all about paying his knowledge forward to the next generation. There we go. Okay, got those notes in. Let's see what chat is saying. Thinking about some people I know who are retiring with disability benefits who've expressed that they would rather not have those. Yes, yeah, and it can always be arranged, and the way that you get things can obviously make a difference. But one of the things that I want to keep sort of focused on here is that we're intending to tell a story, and the balance of our characters to allow us to deliver that story and that message in a meaningful way to the audience sometimes means that we will be a little bit contrived with certain elements that we're bringing into play, so that we get to where we want to be. Sometimes real life is a wonderful thing to draw from. Sometimes you need to tweak real life just a little bit to fit what it is that you're trying to do, because stories have to make sense. Real life does not, as Mark Twain said, and Wolf quoted at us earlier. I can see we are being raided by Mr. J Gamer TTV. Welcome in. Glad to see you, raiders. You've stumbled into a odd stream. We are currently working on character creation for a novel that we're intending to write over Twitch, which is a perfectly sane idea.
Absolutely. One sane thing after the other.
Yes, we only do sane things on WVPL 76, which is the Twitch channel for the Black Pants Legion. And I can see Mo has dropped our links in chat. If you are interested in joining our Discord, we get up to all sorts of things. Whether it's Battletech, we do cooking on this channel, we do a whole host of video gaming, and on Fridays I talk about writing and world building. So you stumbled into some strangeness.
some happy coincidences.
I got to get back into writing too, to be honest. It's been a solid half a year by now since I lost motivation. Oh, I'm so sorry you lost motivation. If you would like to have a writing group and share things, we do have a writing section in our Discord, and I'm always happy to talk to people about creative writing. We have been working on this setting since January. We started with the very basics of world building. I think the first question that we asked ourselves was, how many planets are in our solar system? And we've built everything up from there. We are now at the point where we are detailing our protagonists for our story. We have a rich compendium of different things that we've put together, and we have maps and art and all sorts going on. So we have a good time on Fridays over here, and you're welcome in any time you would like.
We currently have thoughts about what sort of computation languages they're using in different planets. So there has been a little bit of nerd mind experiments.
Yes, we vacillate between some sort of soft science into actual number crunching at times, which terrifies me because I'm not good at number crunching. Thankfully, because I'm doing this over Twitch with a wonderful community, I have people who will do that for me.
Yes, always having servants. Is there a problem it cannot solve? No, there isn't. Yes.
I still think one of the coolest things, which there's been a plethora of cool things you guys have all put into this setting, the wonderful artwork and all of that, but the fact that Ninja Turtle made us that universe animation at the very beginning that showed our planet and everything. We haven't watched that in a while. Would you guys like to see that animation again? Because it's very cool.
I think so.
I can pull that up. Let me go and find that. Do I have it currently? I do not have it currently loaded into OBS, so I will need to add it, which is fine. I can do that. It will be a media source. Okay, and then I just need to find where I hid it. Which this could take me a minute because I'm not sure where I hid it. Is it in here?
No.
Do I want to know what they're doing? I can't see chat right now. Are they being naughty while I'm not looking?
No. It's nothing Corbin-like.
Okay, I didn't hide it there. That's what
it is being charitable and amazing, and we need to make sure they're doing something reasonable with their time and efforts. Yes, you are. You are behaving. This is wonderful. Which is on its own, I have to say, somewhat disturbing, but I'll take what calm, simple days ahead I can, considering everything else.
I have found the video with Ninja Turtles narration, so I'm going to hit that, and we'll listen to that for a minute.
Yes.
Boop. I will need to make it smaller. That is way too big.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a partial simulation of the MERN system. We have the inner planets here doing their thing, orbiting. We have Luastra also doing its thing and orbiting.
How strange, because it's telling me that it's making noise.
And we have its mini moons doing their thing and all orbiting as well.
People in chat.
How crazy is that? We zoom into Luastra, we can see it has many moons. We can see Mole here doing its best. It's my favorite, to be honest. Let's see. Mole has a tidal stress of 10 to the 12. I saw there for a split second. That's pretty spicy. For reference, Earth is 10 to the 9. So, a bit spicy on the tidal stress. But hey, that's fine. We also have Shoal, a habitable planet that is orbiting Luastra, which is orbiting MERN. Because it is orbiting two different things, there's a couple weird things that happen to this. For one, your surface temperatures rise and fall quite a bit. Mostly because if you look at the energy coming in, it is going to vary depending on how close Shoal is to the sun, which is also why Shoal orbits out of plane with Luostra. If it orbited perfectly in plane, the temperature swings would be even more extreme than they currently are. That means half the year, Shoal is getting quite warm. Well, relatively speaking. And then for the other half of the year, Shoal gets cold. A more extreme summer and winter than what we would have. We can see, looking up here, that we have liquid water, at least around the equator. The poles, yeah, it's all frozen water, but you have liquid water on the surface around the equator. Speaking of the tides, tidal stress magnitude is 10 to the 10 normally. So I have seen it spike up to 10 to the 11 briefly. So that means on average, there we go, 10 to the 11. On average, the tides on Shoal are about an order of magnitude higher than they are on Earth. And for some time, they are 2 orders of magnitude higher than they are on Earth. So, it's probably better to be an aquatic species on Shoal.
Okay, and that was the thing that Ninja Turtle made for us, which, yes, he used Universe Sandbox. That was one of the other streamers on this channel. Ninja Turtle streams on Sundays and does racing games, but he is also a fantastic collaborator for Shoal and all the other cool things we do here. And yeah, he threw that together when we were doing our initial world building and justified Shoal being some of the way that it now is. The amount of disciplines that we've built into this setting from having so many people pouring into it has just been wonderful. So it's been a good time. It has been a good time.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And we have done some pretty amazing things with it since.
We have. I'm amazed at where we're at. This latter half of the year. With everything that's gone on this year, because admittedly, I mean, in January when I started this, I was like, I don't know if people are going to take to this. This might be a really bad idea. and now we're going to be writing a book, so fun times.
Yep.
Right, we should get back to working on our character. All right,
Yes.
So we've got some idea of what they look like. What sort of scars do they have? I feel like they'd need to have some scars around their head. Where they would have, had their link system to their mech.
Yeah, neural scars relating to coral is lightning scars. So they actually have a what looks like an electrical burn on the side of their face, probably.
Lichtenberg scar down one side of face.
It is a water world. Yes, it is. And Earth is a very accessible material if you can survive the depth where you need to swim to it.
It's crazy how when we get down to ship posting, how seriously we take it. Yes, if you're going to make a ship post, you have to put the effort in, otherwise don't bother. Otherwise you end up with Hungry Like the Wolf, which is however many pages of absolute tripe because it's one joke stretched over too many pages and it needed more effort put in, and we're still going to rewrite that later this year too.
I am working on the front page for it.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous.
It's going to be a very hunky man pointing at the sky, sitting on top of on top of his mech, making eye contact with the reader, and being absolutely.
He needs to be specifically making uncomfortable eye contact with the reader.
Probably, yes. I don't know what level of glistening skin is going to be showing, but there's going to be something here about the jaw is set.
Just
I-
remember, it is Ilkhan Alaric Ward, so he needs to be sitting atop his Savage Wolf mech, because that's going to feature a lot in the rewrite of the story. Last cool biology question. Do they have eyelids? Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. 2 of them,
Yes.
like most eels. They need to be able to deal both with their amphibians. Well, just for you, it'll be extra. We'll go the extra mile. We're the BPL, and we're taking our shitpost most seriously.
I feel like they should probably have some scars down their arms as well.
Okay, cool. I mean, scarring is. Do they have actual implanted skin? Because I believe surely medical technology has got to the point where if you have battlefield scars, they have that gel they can slap onto you to start to cauterize the bleeding and
Yes.
help your body, but it leaves a very distinct scarring when they apply it in the field and don't have any, hospital to make it look nice. So he might have like an entire forearm missing a few fingers and colored strange. Like if he has a golden color.
Mm-hmm.
One moment, Night Owl is asking something.
Oh, what is Night Owl asking us? Lady Red, how can you bring up Alaric Ward without mentioning his origins as a test tube baby with extra detail, whose entire rise to power was orchestrated by his mother? Because it's not in the romance novel. All that's in the romance novel is archaic Terran mating rituals. Something, honor, something, savage wolf, dross.
We can do better than that. We can and we should.
Oh dear. I have opinions, they are strong opinions, and I'm very much looking forward to Chuck Tingling this book. And as part of Chuck Tingling this book, we probably won't dwell on Alaric Ward's origins unless it's very funny in the moment. So it'll probably come up, but it will be as a passing quip. It's not even full of moronic horny noises, unfortunately, Polychromatic Goth Drop, because it
What is hard gel? Okay, I'm going to ask Sleepover. What is hard gel?
you'll have to look it up because I'm not sure. But they don't delve into the physical attraction in the early chapters as anything other than sort of puddle deep. It's very shallow. It's just, yes, he is physically attractive. Yes, I would like to kiss him. And then a chapter later, apropos of nothing, they're kissing. For literally no reason. And there's no build up to it. Nothing that happens with it is of particular importance. I don't think the book's going to have, frankly, the balls to go in deep enough for them to have any kind of actual intercourse that isn't fade to black. And we're on to topics we're not supposed to be having on this stream because nobody sent me bad books this week. Why are we here?
Why are we here? We are here to talk about the scarring of a beautiful veteran eel person.
Yes.
Instead of the mental scarring of a stupid moronic tube baby. Okay?
A stupid moronic tube baby written by a stupid moronic fanfic writer who does that for a living, and everything is stupid and moronic and my head hurts.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, you can have okay.
Oh,
great.
okay, yeah, so okay, yeah. Hard
They
gel,
do-
self-repairing substance used by clan elemental armor. So yeah, it will be a self-repairing gel, though, what we decide to call it, and it was probably made from seaweed.
Yeah, it's made from something. They slap it onto their bodies to repair it. They probably have a different, more industrial strength derived from dead coral that they use to repair the titans.
Yes.
But this is for later.
C Bond.
The no, C Bond is 007. Uh,
Okay, that was quick. That was quick.
I'm sorry. Brain is primed and ready. Couldn't resist. Please lobotomize.
Bubble 07 should never have been allowed to escape into the wild. Look where we've ended up.
Well, now it's there, and like the dodo, it's going to make a resurrection arc.
Okay, let's carry on. Like all Laticles, he has wide dark eyes, though a little clouding is starting to show in his right eye as a consequence of age. Let's add that in. Okay, we know he was a Tide Warden. We know his scale colour. Yeah, okay. I think we're good on that in a minute. This is additional notes. Let's just move that down. Age. Okay. Now we need to talk about some stuff with regards to our species, etc. How long do Laticles live for? I don't know if we decided that previously. I will need to bring up our species notes once I remember where the heck I hid them. Races are shot. Here we go. Laticles. Okay. Let's see what we've got written down for our Laticles. Do we have anything to do with age or years? Okay. Reproduction and life cycle. Laticles reach maturity by 12 to 15 great years and can live up to 120 great years in optimal conditions. And when we consider that a great year is 5 years, I wonder if that needs to be changed, because that is a heck of a long time.
It should be sliced to a third.
Yeah, or we could just change it to keep it exactly as it is, but change it to close years.
Close years was what?
Close years was what we established on our calendar last time. What I think I need to look at is we need to go back to our early stuff that we wrote. When we set our calendar, did we write it this way because we decided that 1 great year is equal to 1 Earth year, which will no longer be current after what we decided last time round with our calendar stuff that we did, because we've refined the calendar since. So give me just a moment to take a look and see if we can compare this to Earth. No, we didn't.
Will.
We did say that 1 great year is 5 Earth years. It's also 5 close years. So yeah, we need to change the Laticle right up to say close year, not great year, and then it's fixed. Let's do that.
Yeah. 1 to clownfish. Roughly pi. Presumably meat pie, but doesn't have to be. Could be something slightly more sweet.
Okay. So if he reached maturity by 15, let's say that he spent a great year in training as a Laticle pilot before he would have become one. I think we need to just think about what his background is. So we have our young Laticle. Did he go straight into Titan service because he took the aptitude test and he was just designed for it from square one, or
No, he was
did he do something else first?
I think he was a basic librarian at the beginning.
Okay,
I
and so
think
his
he had
aptitude was
a-
discovered through that?
Yeah, he had. The thing is, to be a lantern or an amplifier
Mm-hmm.
as a Titan, you need to have a highly developed, very well trained mind you don't get to do that from as a child, at least unless you're very gifted. Sandra, I don't think he's very gifted. I think he's just good at what he does through training, and he shows that.
Okay.
None of his skills are innate, which would make him a good mentor because he had to learn everything.
Yes. Yeah, no, I like where you're thinking. We have a first-time chat from Prismatic Priming. I never knew Twitch had a world-building section. How are you doing? We're doing great. Yeah, we do have a world-building section on Twitch. I don't know how many other people are insane like we are and decided to build an entire world over Twitch, and we're currently in the process of building up to writing our first novel over Twitch, which is a very sane thing to do. We started this project in January. We've invented an entire setting. It's an ocean world with underwater mecha, and we are currently working on detailing one of our characters that will be in our story. He is a laticle, which is the image you can see on screen. This particular laticle is from the slyworm culture. And yeah, we're figuring out where this character would have come from so that he can fill his part in the story and make it interesting. Okay, so let's talk about his background a little bit, seeing as we're doing this. Do I have a section here? Let's just write about their past somewhere. I'm just going to stick it with these other notes we already made up here. Okay, so we have decided that he graduated from school around 15, as is usual for laticles. He initially took apprenticeship with his local library bank as a librarian and archivist student. During his training, he was noted for how good he was at information collation and retention, and on testing was found to be within range for Titan pilots. Seeing an opportunity for a unique life path, he decided to end his apprenticeship and join the Tide Warden Signal Corps, initially as a relay signalman and archivist. What's the word I want to use? Civilian's not the right word, but I'm just going to put in brackets here. We'll come up with a word for it later.
Operator.
Non-pilot.
Sure.
Non-pilot. I don't want to use operator because that sounds like a Titan pilot. A grand year into his work in this regard, he qualified and bonded with a Signal Titan and joined a relay unit of the Tide Wardens as a Paragon pilot, which was his career for the next, set how many years in a minute, until the Silence incident burned out his psionic organs and left him deaf. It was at this point he chose, I can spell, I swear, he chose to return to his roots and rejoin
After a period of convalescence.
Rejoin the library banks after a period of convalescence and adjustment.
Yes.
Okay, so
I,
go on.
I just want to reiterate how important it is that this dude is well adjusted, probably because he actually got the treatment he needed, not just like, you can't
Yes.
pilot anymore, we're dumping you.
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah,
I don't
so-
think it's going to be the world's strangest thing for, you are no longer a pilot. We've already decided as we've been going through all of this world building that, Titans obviously outlive their operators, and that shouldn't always be traumatic. This is a culture that's very much built themselves into their mecha, not dependence, but it's a normal part of their society, and you might get very attached to a job and love it, and when your retirement comes around, you're sad to leave it. There should be people who get to have that experience where it's, well, this has come to its natural end for one reason or another, whether you've had injury, whether you've hit retirement age or whatever. And he's one of our characters who, although he's walking away with a disability, he is well adjusted because there is this process in place, and he got to go through that process to be a full person on the far side.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, let's see what Chad is saying. We appear to be the #1 reading and writing stream on Twitch right now. Oh no! Oh no, is that going to put me in the rarefied company of my darling husband, who was the #1 Number Munchers player for a while? Oh, still are? Okay, I'm sorry. He still is the #1 Number Munchers player on Twitch. Oh dear. Prismatic Priming says, oh dude, that's phenomenal. Is this a fantasy setting that includes humans, or is xenofantasy following an experience in alien culture from their own POV? And it looks like Eric has answered that. It does include humans, but it's more focused on the Shoaly, the sentience of Shoal. Yeah, so we have decided that human contact has happened with Shoal, but that's a relatively recent thing. And although we have humans in setting, because humans are a wonderful lens to introduce an audience to something that they're not going to innately know. If you give them a character who's confused, the character's confused, they're confused, that's normal. Suspension of disbelief is a lot easier, and you can, reveal information in a way that doesn't feel expository. So we do have humans in setting. One of our chat members has done extensive work on how humans work in this setting. But our main focus is our 5 sapient species we've developed for this world, and the mecha that they use as part of their lifestyle and culture and ability to deal with the trials and tribulations of living on a crazy ocean moon that's orbiting a gas giant that's orbiting a star on the far-flung edges of the universe, where science and fantasy overlap just a little bit, and we have psionics. So we have a unique setting.
And also memetic bleeding between planets.
Yes, memes have bled between planets. One of the most popular things we have going on in this setting is James Bond exists on Shoal, 007, and chat has run wild with that concept in myriad and interesting ways.
Yes.
Mo says Titan might carry a memory of its pilot or crew. That's absolutely something we built in the early days of this. A Titan Paragon is a Titan that has its own personality, but those personalities are obviously affected and developed by the pilots that they've had in the past, and always ongoing and developing, so we definitely have that.
Just to be extra, take an extra detour where we can take one, we'll take two.
By all means.
Me and Ed had a thought about the differences between Titan personalities and growth, and how they're differ from familiars developed by humans. And we've thought about the process by which Temp Squirrel actually is interacted with. And since the Temp Squirrel acts as the brain of a Titan, as well as the libraries, and we've so deeply invested in, Temp Squirrel is kind of like an isolated node. It's a being that it's an existence that grows in time and connectivity and complexity, but unlike the internet, it's not an AI. It can't learn all the other Temp Squirrel just by being there. So different Temps libraries have different perspectives and different ideas. It's not just a data bank that you can access. And just like with familiars that cannot download into your brain, you can't do I know Kung Fu with a human familiar because of how the organic brain has to work with it. Even with a Skulljack, The training that librarians go through is partially to resonate and harmonize with the Thames Coral, but also with the understanding that you need to go to different libraries to get different things.
Yeah.
And the larger and older the Thames Coral colony is, the more reluctant it is to give away nascent mines, which are the little Thames Coral conglomerates that form the Titans, because they are old, and what you're doing is essentially asking for it to give one of its children, essentially,
Yeah.
to go and be the brain of your machine, which is an alien existence,
Yeah.
to a Thames Coral. So the older they are, they know more, they have more understanding of what's going on, but they also are more independent of everything because they've been here long before you.
And anticipate being here long after you. But of course, you're going to have those personality types where we know that for some of the coral, it loves the idea of space travel and going elsewhere. So if you've got the right Temps coral, and of course, this is where you have your coral farmers coming in, which is not just necessarily about providing the environment for them to grow, but also tending those personalities and dealing with them. I really like that. That's really cool.
We had a little, me and Ed had a nice little chat over
Yeah, and it's that
these.
sort of more organic element that Shoal has compared to the more structured scientific approach that Earth has had, especially as Earth isn't psionically active for the most part. Whereas for everyone on Shoal, they kind of are.
Yeah, and to put a fine point on it, the familiar of Jake
Yes.
has been shaped by Jake from infancy. So
Yeah.
Jake had a familiar from a young age, and then he had his scholarship, and he trained his familiar for a very long time. And since Jake was always psionically active, even the programming, just like the way different people program differently, and you can see it in how they do their code.
Mm-hmm.
The familiar of Jake has been primed to deal with his way of perceiving psionic input in a manner that most other familiars will never do,
Yeah.
because they haven't been primed by a person that guides them down that lane. They
Yeah.
lack that input.
Yeah, his gut feeling is actually going to mean something, whereas for other people it doesn't, and it would be more easily dismissed.
Yep.
Corbin has returned from leg day. Ouch, that's all. Good job, that probably means you did it right, or you did it really wrong.
Yes.
Put some ice
Don't-
on your knees, you'll be fine.
Yes. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. The way XCOM does it.
Yes. Alright, let's get back to our Laticle. How many years were they in service before the psionic activity happened? Now, if we bear in mind that Laticles live to be 120, old age for them is going to be, later than it is for humans.
They're lizard folk. They age
Yes,
differently.
they do.
Remain in relatively good performance until they actually up and die.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that, but then again, there's the truth of service. If they're doing strenuous, dangerous service,
Mm-hmm.
a tour of duty would still be 3 to 5 years tops, because it's supposed to be a tour that you're supposed to survive. So
I reckon most Titan pilots get to do multiple tours because we're not in a time of active war or anything like that, though obviously that's going to be different for, say, the Leviathan Hunter classes. Those tours are going to be shorter and you'll do less of them. But for somebody like our Laticle, he was part of an information unit. It's not really the world's highest risk job.
Correct. So he did he did one great year from 15 to 20 something. He did one great year as librarian tour,
Yeah.
and then a little bit extra. It's called his internship.
Yeah.
then he did as a two closed years for training as a Titan, as a Titan artillery. As yeah, ancillary is the word I use.
Ancillary, yeah.
Ancillary, yeah. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you're fine.
speaking English from reading it, not from hearing it. So ancillary. So he's an ancillary Titan operator, and he took 2 years to train in that, to go through everything, the courses, the field operation, blah blah blah. So he is now 20.
He's gonna be like
24.
Well, he's 15. Then he's 20 by the time he's done with his apprenticeship. Let's say. Let's give him a little bit of time for that.
Yes, and then another.
apprenticeship.
So he'll be around 30.
Yeah, he's going to be around
32.
about 30 when he hits the Tide Wardens as a qualified Titan pilot, actually doing his job. So let's say he goes in at 30. How many years do we want him to stay in for?
He's been there for 20 years. Easy.
Okay.
Doing garnering experience. By the end of it, he has a rank, and he's imparting his wisdom on the green fins and the whippersnappers.
Yeah.
And then they get his unit out to deal with an outbreak, possibly the ending event of a nether god rising with a field of quiet around it. And in one of these outbreaks, his unit is overcome with a tide of, not the quiet, how do we call the sort of quiet that go, the doldrums, the ones that swim out in clouds, and his entire unit got swarmed by doldrums and trying to effect an evacuation. Now he's well over 50 here, trying to effect an evacuation. His unit is overwhelmed and trying to amp up his communications, because let's remember, that's his role. He's the communications titan. Trying to break through the doldrum. The biofeedback is what burns him out from amping up his abilities too far. Add 3 or 4 years of convalescence through relearning how to read the world.
Yep.
He's deaf now. And then another year as trying to find what to do with society, because all the mental therapy in the world does not automatically fix you.
Correct.
And we're getting to 67, 68.
Okay, I'm not counting correctly then. So he returned to the libraries around the age of 67, and by the opening of our story, let's have him be about 78. So he's had some years of.
Yeah, he's done at least one expedition already. So he's 78.
He's now 78 with 2 previous larger scale expeditions under his belt.
Yeah, so he's what you'd call a venerable medical.
Yeah.
So,
okay, cool. So we know that at the start of our story, then he is 78 years old. This is going to be 78 close years. Which will equivalent to what?
25 and a half large years.
So it's 25.
Not 25. What am I saying? 25 would be 112. Not 25.
Yeah, no.
15 and a half.
15?
15.
15. Great years.
Thank heavens for calculators.
Yes, they are wonderful
I
things. All right, let's see what Chad is up to. How similar are piloting Titans to piloting aircraft IRL? I imagine it's going to be a bit of a different skill set because of the psionic uplinks and neural link technology that we have. It's probably going to work a little bit differently. Do the Tide Wardens have a mandatory service period like the Army? If so, I'd say maybe a year after the mandatory, after having extended their contract. I think what we would be better served to do here is to allow for... because the Tide Wardens aren't a military service. They're more like a police force. So I'm thinking that, and for ease of storytelling, especially if people want to write their own stories in the setting, without, in inverted brackets, my oversight and the oversight of the whole group that we have here, I think the best thing to do would be to say that when you become a Titan pilot, you take on a certain contract, and that the contract default length will be based on job role. So for a Leviathan Hunter Titan pilot, that contract is probably going to be shorter than it would be for somebody like our current character, who's doing something that for the most part should be a less dangerous job. So you maybe establish longer contracts, etc. And then that way, whatever people put into place, if somebody puts into place that, oh yes, he signed on with a 3-year contract, and then in the next book somebody else is signing on with a 5-year contract, it's not going to be a conflict of information. It's, it's either based on job role or whatever company they were working for. It's something that just won't stand out as a little hangnail of...
You have to get it right.
Yeah, it won't stand out as being an incorrect piece of information. It will just be, oh yeah, some people have different contracts. Okay. Right, yes. I'm happy with where we've got to for that. Let's move on to the next bit. So what does our dude smell like? Let me change this back over to our character that we've already written up. And for our new folk who are in chat and who might be like, why are you doing... What? Why is this here? When you're writing, one of the really important things to try to keep a handle on with writing a novel or something you want to deliver to an audience is playing with all of the senses. It really helps to pull a reader into the scene that you're describing. And the easiest one to overlook is sense of smell. So having a scent profile written down, I find, helps to remind me to make sure to use all of the senses, and it also can be a really good shorthand for a character. When you go back to your foundational memories from when you were young, if you encounter a certain smell, it might remind you of something from your youth. There are certain smells for me that trigger certain memories, like the smell of peppermints. There's a particular smell of like sugary peppermint, reminds me immediately of being a child with my grandmother, because she'd have peppermint oil on her handkerchief. So whenever I had a cold, she'd give me her handkerchief and it had that smell. And I just have a visceral connection between that smell and a certain period of time where I had somebody who was looking after me and being very caring and nice to me. So sense of smell is really important, and that's why I like to make sure I have this scent profile written down. So for our scholarly human, we wrote down that his scent was sage, that comes from candles he likes, related to a past romance. Slightly musted paper. He smells of sea spray, deodorant and sweat because he spends a lot of time in pressure suits, and also of cardamom coffee. And all of this sort of plays into our characterization of that character. He's very scholarly. His work affects how he smells. We know he likes coffee and that smell lingers around him. What do we want for our laticle?
Yes, well, he does smell like fish. Yes.
Oh dear, yes, he will indeed smell like fish, but also of other things.
I'm going to, if no one else is going to jump in. First of all, do you have an idea?
I'm having a rumination.
Okay. I'll go ahead and say that our radical has a faintly ozone-like scent.
Okay.
The scent, it has a weird rain-like freshness to it.
Okay.
because again, it evokes the things that to me the mentor smells like being safe in a storm.
Okay, so maybe sort of pine needles, juniper, cedar,
Yes.
maybe a bit of lavender. Lavender's quite soothing.
Okay. Something of not pharmaceutical. And there's an undertone of medicinal unguents that he has to rub rather constantly over his various scars to keep them from chafing. Corbin, we are describing our mental laticals. Yes. If you're typing it down anywhere, I'm not saying
Smell of a heavy rainstorm. Yeah, I think that's going to be. We are describing the smelliness of our character so that when we're writing about him, we have these things that we can pull up. Vaguely reptilian. That gives the impression of sort of a dry character, which I don't think we want for this guy because he's not one of our laticals that spent a lot of time on land. He is an underwater latical, and I don't want to have that sort of cross-contamination, though I think there will be some characters later where that would be a very interesting thing to pull out for them, is to give them that sort of juxtaposition.
no. He's a saltwater. He's a saltwater naga.
Yeah.
Not naga. Seahorse.
Yes. All right, the next thing that we'll need to do is figure out what his resonance is going to be. So this is something that the character profile sheet that I'm using is what I use for all of my books with the exception of this section. Resonance is something we added in specifically for shoal-based characters because we have the psionic connection in all of our sapient species. So the resonance is how the character feels on the sort of psionic plane to other people noticing them, and it has a lot to do with their sort of attitude, body language, the way they approach life, and we also couch it in musical terms because that's our consistent theme we've been building on over and over and over with this setting, is those musical things that we've pulled out. So what do we think will be the main resonance for our latical? We've made him into quite a sort of information-centric character, so I feel like he's going to have sort of a bit of a hungry resonance. He's hungry for information, but we also know that we want him to be quite a sort of comforting and mentor-shaped character, so we're going to want to build some warmth into that as well. What are we thinking, chat?
Yeah, chat.
The priest smells like dino nuggies. That's how you know you can trust him. So, Polychromatic Gothrop a minute ago said that they should have a scent that's artificial, a chemical scent that lets other Shoaly know that they cannot use Silinx. Kind of like a deaf person have hearing aids, but surely. I think we can build that into the resonance instead. There should be something in his resonance that feels off because he is now deaf, because I feel like that would be the spectrum that the Shoaly would pick that up on more than somebody's scent. Introspective 9 also thinks that 90, sorry, thinks that we should add in chalky milk. They should also smell of chalky milk.
The idea of clam milk being used with chocolate is terrifying.
Yes. And of course it would be served in a little barnacle that you can stick a straw through the top of, because we decided that, you know, barnacles are Shoaly Capri Suns.
Yes. We paid attention to the most important parts of Shoaly culture. and nothing else.
He has a strong major chord of warm hunger. With a soft second tone of quiet and intimacy. However, his entire resonance is coloured with a consistent, with a persistent discord of silence due to his burned out nature, a feature other Sholi immediately recognise as the tone of a deaf person. Okay, that's what I'm going to write. I'm willing to edit it. Static buzzing for their link burn, okay? So a persistent discordant static buzz.
Muting out the resonance.
Is muted out with a persistent discordant static buzz of silence due to his burned out nature, a feature other Sholi immediately recognise as the tone of a deaf person.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, we get to do his personality type next. Does anybody have a name in mind for this guy that they want to go with, or should we just keep referring to him as a unnamed person for now and come back to it like we did for Jake?
Do we want a cultural? Do we want our first important article to evoke a certain culture on Earth?
Okay, let me take a look at what we've done previously with our laticals, because one of the things that we've discussed in the past and that we want to be careful with is we know we don't want to go too over the top with names. Names that are over hyphenated or aren't familiar to the human mind can very easily lose a reader's attention, because everything just starts to blur together because you're asking them to hold too much in their heads at once. So the name needs to be something that is alien enough without being too alien. And we know that for our laticals we like to play with the idea of them being streamlined and almost otter-like in their ability to move through the water. So maybe we want a name that's going to be sort of soft and pliable in that sort of way and tie into their species for the purpose of our narrative. Polychromatic is saying, as it's not a natural deafness, there should be a difference between a burnt out deafness and a natural deafness. I feel the natural one should be more like a lack of volume combined with muffling. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's really good. And the idea of having the static in his comes from it being okay, so I feature the tone of a deaf person who has burned out. Static feedback comes from having burned out your link, whereas naturally deaf surely from birth feel more muted and generally quiet. Okay, there we go. I've got those notes in. Salmony, Eddie, shortened by our human to just Sal. Yeah, that could work. Salmony. Jake keeps messing it up to salmonella. Jake is an analytical scientist. I don't think he'd make that sort of mistake. However, some of our mercenary characters we're going to add in, doing it on purpose, that could work. Alright, well, I'll leave you guys thinking on that and we'll come back to that. The next thing that we should do is figure out his personality type, which means we get to take a personality test. Hooray!
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got to find where I hid the personality test. Here it is. Alright, so we're going to go through some questions for this McDude. Yeah, do that. Blah, 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 blah. Right, here we go. We want to take the test, so where is my thing that lets me take the test? Are you only going to let me take it once on this site? Because that would be very annoying. That's language. Click. Log out. Right, here we go. Got the thing in front of me. Alright, how easily does our dude make new friends? What do we think?
Friends?
I feel like
Not,
he's
not easy. He's good at making new students. He's good at making the Paul with him. He's not good at making friends.
okay. Complex and novel ideas excite you more than simple and straightforward ones.
Chet.
I feel like he'd probably
So
quite
either-
like complex ideas.
Likes puzzles.
You usually feel more persuaded by what resonates emotionally with you than by factual arguments. So is he more emotionally driven or factually driven? What do we think, chat? I'm going to wait for somebody in chat to decide this one.
Yeah.
Is he an emotive laticle or a fact laticle? This also gives me a break to have a drink, which is also very nice. Considering they worked comms, you feel facts? Okay, so more factually motivated. Living and working spaces are clean and organised. Yeah, SRW Addict agrees. Factual makes more sense for an information agent. Okay. Are they a clean and tidy person, or do they enjoy living in a little bit of chaos? My personal feeling towards that is for somebody who's very orderly in his mind and how he transports information. I like the juxtaposition of him being very muddly in his environment and just having things everywhere. Tidy, organised chaos. So should we just put him somewhere right slap bang in the middle? If it's something important, he keeps it clean and organised, but if it's not important, he doesn't mind a little bit of higgledy-piggledy.
I think he likes a little bit of clutter these days.
Yeah.
These days.
He'd probably keep important things tidy, though. That would be a callback to his past.
I mean, no, his office is tidy. His room is a mess of curios.
You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I think we need to definitely go with that one, considering what his job was and how he got burnt out. He clearly stays calm under a lot of pressure, otherwise he wouldn't have just stayed and continued relaying all that information.
This lizard remains calm in any blizzard.
Yes. Does he find the idea of networking and promoting himself to be daunting?
Right now, yes. Fuck that shit. Fuck that noise.
Thank you, Saris. I now have a beagle on my hip.
That is wonderful. Pets, please.
I can pet the Empress. She is currently settling down. She's doing that little lip smacking thing doggos do when they're getting ready to sleep. You getting cold, baby girl, and your sunbeam's gone away, so now you need Mama's hip. Chat says hi. She is lip smacking at me and settling to sleep, so she's very happy.
Wilf demands the pets.
She has had many pets and ear scritchies. She is a happy girl. Alright, what's our next question? Does he prioritise and plan tasks effectively and completes them before the deadline?
Chat, what do you say? Many pets are being redeemed. Bully Snake and Pyrochromatic got dropped. Okay, Mo is redeemed 2 pets.
Oh my goodness, all the pets. Your Uncle Mo says I have to pet you even more, baby girl.
I think she'll survive.
She would be much happier if Uncle Mo could give her the pets in person. Alright, let me scroll down because I answered one of these incorrectly. There we go.
I, by the way, posited the name Umino Sayo.
I presume there is a reason why you have posited that name?
Yes, it's a jumble of Japanese sea-related synonyms. And I like Umi means ocean, and I think Umino is regal enough to be a mentor's name.
Okay, and of course everyone will just call him Umi for short.
Exactly, which will call back to the fact that Umi is ocean in Japanese.
Okay.
And that's just
And of course all of this is just a bit of a human interpretation because in Shoali it's a series of clicks.
yeah.
Okay, I've popped that in.
It's,
Alright, we were doing his personality type. Let's get back to that quiz. So we know he prioritises tasks pretty effectively. People's stories and emotions speak louder to you than numbers or data. So we know he's very good with numbers and data and the like, but I think he's probably a bit of a people person as a mentor character.
yeah. I strongly agree.
Yeah. Does he like to use organising tools like schedules and lists? I feel like he probably doesn't because we were saying that he's just quite innately good at handling information. I feel like he can just hold a lot of things in his head and just doesn't need stuff like that. He just remembers.
He used to. That's the thing. He used to use all these tools, but now, you know how you look at, you go up to your professor and he picks up a book that he read 1,700,000 times, and he just pulls up the correct page on instinct.
Yeah.
It's like, of course he used all these tools back when.
Yes.
Now he doesn't need them.
He superseded the need for them in his current work.
Yes.
Alright. Even a small mistake causes him to doubt his abilities and knowledge. No, I think at his age and with his life experience, he's like, no, mistakes happen, it's what you do about them that matters.
Yeah.
I don't think mistakes set him back that much.
Eric, I agree that he'll go over the checklist, but at some point you just like, okay.
Yeah, and I
You know,
imagine there'll be times where he uses them because it's practical, but I don't feel like he feels the need to create them to get through his day-to-day life and his normal work. If it's a case of, okay, we're going on an expedition, we need to run down the checklist to make sure everything's here, that makes sense. But in terms of, okay, I need to make a checklist for I need to do this, and then I need to do that, and then I need to do that, then it's lunchtime, then I need to do that. I don't think he needs that. But yeah, I think he's very passionate about, checklists that exist for a very important reason.
Yeah. He's been an E4. He knows his way around the clipboard.
I bet he's one of those people as well who, when he's talking to the Temple Guardian pilot, is very, have you done your checklist? Have you made sure of this? Have you made sure of that? But if you ever got him into a cockpit to need to start something up, he'd just do it without looking at anything. Just like, I've done it 50,000 times before. Yeah, I'll sign the paperwork afterwards. I know I've done it. Not that he would because he can't hear the Titan anymore, but...
He misses
Mistakes are like farts, everyone makes them. Just make sure to check your pants afterwards.
Very good, Gothrob. Very good.
All right. Is he comfortable just walking up to somebody he finds interesting and starting a conversation?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he would be.
It's like, you there. You're interesting.
All right. What's next? Does he prioritize facts over feelings when determining a course of action?
I'm going to leave it up to the chat because they have reasons to say yes and no at the same time.
I'm in the same boat. I'm like, I could justify either of those. What do we think, chap? Does he put feelings or facts first when determining a course of action? Or does he go straight down the middle and weighs the pros and cons of both, which as a leader who does expeditions and an adventurer librarian, I feel like putting him in the middle might be the right idea. Yeah, SRW addict saying what I'm thinking. Depends on the situation. I think he'd weigh the pros and cons, and there are times when you need to put people's feelings first, and there are times where you need to put the facts first. We'll put him dead in the middle with that.
We got the best chat. They have some good ideas.
Yes. I mean, literally the best chat on Twitch over here.
Yep. We've checked.
Yes. Mostly because they let me blame them for everything. Does he worry about whether he makes a good impression on people he meets? Does he care what people thinks about him?
Weirdly enough, I'd say yes. I mean, I think he wouldn't, but he really does want to be a good influence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not so much about being popular. It's more about I want to make sure I leave a good impact, not impression, not. I don't want to be liked. I want to be good.
He wants to be well thought of, yeah.
Yeah, not just that. I want to leave a good impact. Thinking like a teacher. It's like, they don't have to like me, but they have to value the experience of having me in their lives.
Yeah. Okay. Does he like taking part in team-based activities? Does he like doing stuff with people, or does he prefer to be, a little bit more solitary? Or is he in the middle, doesn't care either way?
You can go for both. Is he the sort to drink with the crew?
I feel like when he was younger, he might have been more that way, but now as an older person who's mostly spending his time around younger people, in his recreation time, he maybe likes to spend more time on his own.
Yeah.
Okay.
All these ripples and the weird, long, orchestrated music. Where's all the good banging? Where's good metal? Whales,
Point me to the nearest Ceratinoid Click Club.
Yes, I want some loud banging and metal twisting metal. All this sonorous and lengthy. What are you youngsters spending your youth on?
Does he enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches?
Maybe?
I think he probably does a little bit. I don't think, he's going to throw himself at something new and untested as if it's, the best thing since sliced bread. But I think he'd be curious to find out because that's useful information.
Yeah. I mean, he's leading expeditions, for fuck's sake.
Does he prioritize being sensitive over being honest?
Sensitive and honest. Well, Jen, what do you think? What did 78 years of being? Yeah, you think he's honest? He lived his life and just got to the point where, honesty is the best.
Yeah, and he's
policy.
also old enough to go, look, this is just the way it is, take it or leave it. I don't care, I'm too old for this.
Yes, I'm not here to coddle you. Sorry.
Alright. Does he actively seek out new experiences and knowledge to explore? I think
He is
so,
leading experience. He is leading expeditions.
Yep. Even in his old age. Is he prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse? Is he a pessimist? Or is he an optimist?
You can't be an expedition leader and a pessimist at the same bathtub.
We could just go straight down the middle and make him a realist.
I do think he's a little bit of an optimist.
You think he's a bit of an optimist?
I don't see how can you go out into the wild looking for things that aren't there. You're looking for a black cat in a coal mine at night when the cat is in a different mine. Come on, you have to be a little bit of a lunatic.
Fair.
You have to be at least a little bit of a
Yeah, no, Polychromatic Gothrop is saying realist. So what I'll do is I'll lean just very slightly on the optimistic side of realist. So he is a bit of an optimist, but he's not overly so.
No.
Okay. Does he enjoy solitary hobbies or activities more than group ones? I don't think it specifically matters to him. I think if he's spending time on his own, it's more because of the age and experience gap between him and the people that he's around. But, you know, if he's back at the library in the city, there's probably clubs with people, you know, or relaxation lounges or whatever with people his own age. I feel like he'd be fine around.
Yeah, he can listen to his Ye Olde Sabaton
Yes.
and all these good old grunge music that you can actually, you know, listen to instead of all of these poems.
I like that description SRW Addict just said. A realist with hope. Yes, that's a really nice way of putting it. Seen too much and done too much not to be a realist, but with a sprig of optimism. He doesn't wield optimism like a Titan hammer. Oh god, Corbin's back. Hi, Corbin.
Corbin, what would be the band of metal, of heavy metal, that would be the best equivalent to be the noise this old man is listening to instead of all these weird young age sonorous and romantic bullshit?
Oh, is Lictor a bit quiet? Oh, I'll see if I can turn him up a bit. There we go. You are being asked, Corbin, to decide what kind of metal, etc., our very old Latical enjoys, other than this ridiculous classical soft music of the youth of today.
I don't know. I just assume I will have like.
I'm very amused that you've asked Corbin of all people this question, because I know Corbin's musical tastes and the gamut that they run, so we'll see what he comes back with. No, it's not going to be Leviathan Force. Get out, Eric. Out. How dare you?
I mean, he knows the crowd he's running with, Eric. I mean.
We need to make Herman Lee a cephalonid. No, right, we're getting on with this. We're moving on. We've got stuff to do. In disagreements, does he prioritize proving his point over preserving other people's feelings? Or is he somewhere just right in the middle? It depends on the situation.
The question begs a different sort of a mindset for me. I'll explain. He pre-ordered his mission. I think that he's prioritizing team functionality and mission forward rather than being correct. He doesn't so much care about being correct. Again, at this day and age, being correct is not the point. Getting the mission done and getting everyone's head in the game is more important.
Okay. Does he wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings? I don't feel like he does. I feel like he'd be the kind of person to walk in and go, "Oh, hello, old chap. I'm so-and-so. This is what I do. Where are you from?"
Where are you from? Do you like crayfish?
Is he easily swayed? Is he easily swayed by emotional arguments?
No.
No, I don't think he would be, no.
No. Just like deadpan. No.
Does he enjoy debating ethical dilemmas? Is he a fan of the trolley problem?
Only when trolling people.
Oh my god. Bully Snake says Deaf Snail, Hydrosmith, Spears and Coral.
You just described his listening playlist.
Yeah, Polychromatic
Music.
Gostrop's agreeing. Being a teacher, he would be able to break the ice. Yeah. I think we're all on the same page with that one. Titan Force, get out! You're as bad as Eric! So we think he does probably enjoy debating ethical dilemmas.
I mean,
I don't think he'd be like, "We must discuss this. What do you think of the trolley problem? How can we add more people to the tracks?" But I do feel he'd be like, "Yeah, that is an interesting problem. I think I'd probably lean this way."
yeah, I mean, he likes discussing it, but it's not, again.
It's just not
control.
terribly important to him. Yeah.
No. I got actual shit to think about, if you don't mind. All these theoreticals are very cute, but there's an actual false drugs on our ass, and I'd rather get dealing with that first.
So then does he become bored or lose interest when discussion gets highly theoretical?
You need to pass a certain liminal state of, again, he is both experienced and intelligent. You need to keep up, otherwise he's going to go into teacher mode.
Mm-hmm.
And teacher mode is not all that interesting anymore.
When facts and feelings conflict, does he follow his heart? I feel like that's going to be right in the middle, because it depends. What are the consequences? I don't think he's going to find it challenging to maintain a consistent work or study schedule. I think he finds that very easy.
Yes.
Does he second guess the choices that he's made?
Not anymore.
Not fifth on his list of conversational topics, won't shy away from it. Cool, then yeah, what I filled in is about... He listens to Drift Pink. Even worse. Get out, Mo! I'm banning half of you from chat. Leave. How dare you? Hydrosmith glide like a stingray. I hate you guys. I see Night Owl is also quoting my most hinged of sayings.
Gigafauna sounds cool. Astralborn is cool. Serpent Quest. I wonder. I lost in the resonance. Okay, homework for next week, guys. Band names and their
And their
equivalent
genre.
and their genre and resonance in the mist. How do Sholey listen to music? Like, clearly, there's battle of the bands, and sometimes it's bloody.
Yes, and I feel like it would be a that would have to take place in a transitional zone. So our city that has all of the sort of conglomeration of ideas, the one that's I think it's Merrinport, where they have the amphitheaters underwater, above water, and you know halfway in between, and that's where the battle of the bands has to take place. And some bands perform better when it's purely underwater, some perform better on land, and some are really good at that sort of liminal space between the two.
New meaning to thrash metal. Yes. Good going, Bully Snake. You get a cookie. God.
All right. Does he easily connect with people he's just met?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like he probably would.
yeah.
He's big into the tidecore scene of music. Oh my god. Deaf porpoise. Oh god, you can't be trusted with anything, chat. Not at all. If his plans are interrupted, does his top priority become to get back on track as soon as possible?
If he's what?
Plans are interrupted. So if he's busy doing something and he gets interrupted and he has to go and do something else, is his top priority to get back to what he was originally doing?
Kinda.
Yeah, I feel like he'd probably be. Yeah, I was doing that for a reason. Is he still bothered by mistakes he made a long time ago?
Yeah, but not to a.
But not
Point
hugely
where
much?
that's-
Okay.
I mean, that was the therapy.
Yes, that's true.
That's the therapy.
The therapy was successful. It took.
Yes, at least it was useful.
I think we've already answered this one effectively in the past, so I will just give the same answer again. Is his work style closer to spontaneous bursts of energy, or is it organised and consistent effort?
Huh.
I think he'd be probably more organised and consistent considering his background.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is that while on expedition, absolutely. While at home, well, for our story, he's organized.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to see him at home.
Does he feel more drawn to busy, bustling atmospheres or quiet, intimate ones?
Quiet. Quiet, but not all the way.
I am not reading out the rest of these band names, etc.
But no,
SRW also thinks quiet.
we've moved on. I mean, you got your homework, chat. I expect to see 1,700,000 of these, and probably have Storm Song make 17 of them into a band, into a disc that we can play in the background.
Does he prefer tasks that require creative solutions, or does he prefer to follow concrete steps?
He's not a programmer, he's a librarian.
Yeah.
Plans are fluid.
Okay.
Has to be in his line of work.
Does he
Has to be,
struggle with deadlines? No, we know he doesn't struggle with deadlines. We've already basically answered that. Does he feel confident that things will work out for him?
Had to be him. Someone else might get it wrong. Yes, I am quoting Morden for a reason.
All right, let's see our
Because
results.
I'm getting a Morden vibe out of this guy. Do I need to enact war crimes on a galactic scale? Yes.
Well, I think
Will
we
they do
must
it?
have done this right, chat, because our personality type is ENTJA, the Commander. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Yeah, that sounds good enough for him.
Yeah. That sounds
A
about
natural
right to
born
me.
leader with an unparalleled drive to turn your visions into reality. Strategic mind excels at seeing the big picture, identifying long-term goals, and devising efficient plans to achieve them. Rare combination of confidence, charisma, and decisiveness that draws others to you and inspires them to follow your lead. Ambitious with a relentless pursuit of success. I don't think he pushes too hard on that element. An innate ability to organise people and resources, creating order out of chaos, and transforming abstract ideas into concrete results. Yep, this sounds correct. Cool, we know what we're working with.
Yes.
I'm going to copy all of this onto our sheet. And there's a little bit more I can copy onto here.
Not calling him commander, but you know.
Yeah, no, he's that personality type.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all of that in mind, what's his body language like? What does his posture look like? And I will change this back over to our character that we've completed so that people can see that. Okay, what do we want to put in for posture? I feel like he probably has quite a relaxed posture. He's quite sort of content in himself at this point in his life. So he has a sort of open, relaxed, welcoming posture. But I also feel like he's going to have a distinct, attentive twinkle in his eyes because he really listens to what people are saying. So in some ways that can make him a bit disarming, whereas he's a bit sharper than people maybe realise he is.
Here's the thing. To Sholey, he's weirdly attentive. Okay, his body language is relaxed, yes, very much so. But the way he maintains eye contact is way too meticulous for most Sholey, because unlike most Sholey, he doesn't have the resonance to follow what's going on inside her head. So he is listening to all the different. He has that uncanny thing where he is listening to cues you're not usually aware you're giving. Like the same way a deaf person might read your lips instead of listening to the words you're saying.
Okay, cool. Alright, let's check in on chat and see if we're saying anything I need to take into account and make sure I write down. Oh no! Polychromatic Goth Drop is now sad and it's your fault, Lictor.
Why bugger me?
Relaxed enough and being teachable with a firmness that can be... Okay.
Why am I being buggered?
I do not know. Using human cues, not the Sholey ones, so that throws people through a loop. Yes, yeah, I think that'll be a really interesting thing to bring in narratively. And we need to make sure that we harp on that in the right places. Bring that through. That would be really interesting. Okay, we need now to decide what his distinctive skills and abilities are. So we know that he... I'm going to put in Titan Pilot. While no longer able to actively pilot a Titan, as he is now deaf, he nevertheless has a very deep understanding of Titan systems, protocols, operation, and what it's like to be bonded with a Titan Paragon. He might not be able to actively use that skill for his own benefit anymore, but his knowledge is distinctive, and it's not in an area that everybody has familiarity with. Excellent. Memory. As a former information relay specialist, he has an excellent memory for details, numbers, designators, etc., and can recall them fairly easily. Information he has a personal interest in, even more so. What else does he have as a distinctive skill or ability? I feel like he's excellent at shorthand. He is very good at recording large chunks of information very fast in a shorthand manner, can decipher this later without difficulty. And now, what Shoaly shorthand looks like will be probably different to what it does on Earth, but that's fine. The importance is that he can retain, record, and then relay large chunks of information very easily. He's the very model of a scientist. Lictor, I'm going to throw you out as well at this rate.
Not sorry. Please.
All right, any other distinctive abilities we feel like our dude should have?
Aside from having a lifetime of experience over multiple careers, speaking virtually every language known on show and a few human dialects. I mean, the man, the eel owns an air fryer. Get out, introspective. Get out. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. The dude is speaking over 20 languages and can understand resonance so quickly, some surely take time to understand he's deaf.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's special ops enough. We don't need to make him super showy.
That's fine. Ability to read body language, which helps him cover for his deafness to the point some surely don't initially realize. He is deaf
They all read
until
the
they
point, yeah.
are close enough to feel his resonance.
Exactly.
Okay. What is his greatest fear?
It's a big one.
I feel like we can probably, considering, he's relatively old, all the things that he's been through, I feel like we can just give him a relatively mundane greatest fear. Like, he's afraid of crush depth. He doesn't want to be crushed to death.
I think as a commander, his main. It might be even more mundane in this role. He doesn't want the mission to go wrong. He doesn't. He's. You know what?
Okay.
I'm okay with going with the mundane option. I don't know how to deal with that as a literary.
Tell you what we'll do.
Okay.
Okay, so what we'll do. What is their greatest fear? He would tell you his greatest fear is crush depth, but the truth is he's afraid of losing more senses before his death and having an expedition fail in a way that gets people hurt. And although, the latter is his greatest fear, I don't think he personally engages with that. It's not something that he thinks about, but it is what he acts on unconsciously. Consciously, he'd just tell you, well, at my age, I'm crush depth. I'm just afraid of crush depth. After everything I've been through, there's not a heck of a lot I'm afraid of anymore. But that's not the truth. He's got emotional fears.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good, actually. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on to our next bit. What is their misbelief about the world? So for people who haven't been here before for when we've done this, your misbelief about the world is what currently drives you, and it is something that you will mature about, either at the point that you're at in your real life, or a character will mature about through the course of their story. Having misbeliefs about the world is a very normal thing. It comes from our personal life experiences, the things that you've been through, the things that you've done. It can be something as simple as thinking that the only way you can be successful in life is by your achievements, because people don't recognize other things. Because throughout your life, the only time that you've received praise is when you've received an achievement of some kind or stood out from the crowd. Well, that's not true. That might be true at certain phases in life, or around certain people, or in certain aspects of life, but it's not true overall. That's not how life works. And eventually you will probably encounter somebody who finds value in you for things that have nothing to do with your achievements. And at some point you mature and you realize that the world is broader than what your current experience is, and then you develop a new misbelief about the world that you'll change later on, and that's normal. That's being alive. So what does our character think? That simply isn't true. There's always a way out. Okay, the old should never outlive the young. Both interesting.
I like the second one.
Yeah, the second one is very interesting, and we could certainly play a bit of the first one into it. Okay, he believes that it is the duty of the old to educate the young for all the things yet to come, and that this will mostly always lead to a way forward. He believes that the old should not outlive the young, and that they must, and that the old must cede space to youth for a better tomorrow. Which is not always true. Young people can make really stupid decisions. I've gotten quiet. That's because I was typing at the same time. I always speak quiet when I'm doing that. I'm very sorry. How do we feel about that? Or do we need to tweak this in some ways? Because we want him to be able to have a character arc about things. He is a mentor, so this fits in with his mentor personality type.
Yes, let's not kill him just because he's a mentor, though.
Yeah. I'm wondering though, is if we go through with this being their misbelief about the world, and as part of his character arc, we know we're going to have a moment where we potentially need to have a Titan activate in a suboptimal way. This could lead to him sort of thinking, well, the younger person should do this. Maybe that's part of this builds into him being like, well, I'm not going to step in, I'm not going to take the initiative, but it's his experience and not just his knowledge to be passed on, but his actual physical experience and knowledge of how to handle is more important than what the young people are saying. He needs to get into that cockpit and start the damn thing up, because you can pass the knowledge on, but it doesn't mean anything.
I think I haven't. Okay, bear with me.
Yep, by all means.
Remember our Seranoid friend?
Yes.
Or old curmudgeon? I think it's a little bit of that point where we know that that we want the Seranoid to shove someone out of the way and do something self-sacrificing that's very weird for his presentation so far.
Yep.
So what I'm thinking is that the Seranoid is going to pick up Umi and quite bodily shove him into a cockpit and says, "We don't have time for you to feel sorry for you to give a lecture right now, Umi. We need to get it done right now. So get over yourself and get to work." And essentially kind of Umi is trying to get someone else, possibly Jake, possibly someone else, to do the thing that they were grooming, training, tutoring them about feeling like it's the great moment for someone else to
Yeah.
go, and the Sereninoid is like, Umi, we don't have time for this bullshit.
Yeah.
Get up and get in gear.
Okay. And that fits
It's
in
like-
pretty much with what we've got written down. So yeah, that works.
I'm just, it's one of those.
It would
moments where you
also
have
be a nice subversion of a common trope in current media of, okay, and now the time has come for the person who's been being, mentored all this time to do the thing and be the hero. And no, we're not doing that. And there's a good reason why we're not doing that. And we're subverting that. And we're having the old guy get in the robot. God damn it, Shinji Ikari. But it's not Shinji Ikari. We're shoving Gendo in the robot because if you've got all this knowledge, just go and put it to use. Shut up and get in the robot.
get in the robot, Omi. I don't care if you have to scream to it. They know you. They don't need to hear your psyche, your resonance. They know you, and they'll do what you tell them to.
Yui did hate Gendo, and then we have to go into, making sure people actually know what the hell happened in Evangelion and what that was all about, which, we're not going to do that on this stream.
Not right.
You are right, though. Gendo could not have piloted the robot.
I am sending you something while we're winding through stuff.
Alrighty, so what happened in the character's past to make him believe that he has to cede to youth? It's important that the young get to take over. I think this is going to be tied to his deafness event. Part of his therapy and coming to terms with what happened, where part of that would be, it's time to cede your Titan now to a younger person. Let them have the opportunities that you had. It's now time for you to move into a new phase of life, and this is normal and natural, and this is fine. And, he's taken that on board, and it's helped him, but it's something that he's going to have to overcome in the course of the story.
Yep.
I think that's going to be our thing.
Helps. It's not perfect.
His therapy after going deaf included accepting that his time in service was over, that it was time for the next generation to inherit his Titan and put their skills to use. This is normal and natural, and all Titan pilots who graduate to other fields of expertise. He's in time, and he very much took all of this to heart as part of his healing. This really helped him in his recovery process, but it is something he will have to confront as part of the narrative and reconnect with his own use and manual expertise. Knowledge base. Cool. Alright, what does he most often criticize others for? What is he critical about in the world? While you guys ruminate on that, I am going to save the thing you just said. Loud noises in my ear.
Loud noises.
Loud noises.
Critical.
The past should see to the future, teacher. Fuck that, experience trumps all now. Get in the robot. Irate crab. Yes.
Irate crab.
Get in the robot, Sholey.
The name of the crab is Ire. Just ire. He's irate. He's ireful. He is Deus Ira. He is everything tiresome.
That will be a good name for him, admittedly. I think we need to do him next week. He'll be our next one. Ava didn't know what was going on in Ava, so I don't have a clue beyond big robots. Just stick with big robots. That was the most fun part of Evangelion.
I think that I'm on board with Addict, actually. Think of the consequences that you... The ripples of your actions will drown us all.
Actions have effects on others. Think before you act.
Yes.
Cool. How does he respond to emotional pain? I feel like he talks it out.
Yeah.
Because he will have been taught to do that as part of his therapy, etc., etc. And he will just talk it out and be, especially at his age, somewhat blunt about it. Okay, top 3 things he/she values most in life. We've kind of just automatically gone with the fact that Umi's going to be a dude. Do we want him to be a dude or do we want him to be a woman? I never did ask that.
I'm going to be blunt, radical, old, experienced, fluid. I mean, radicals do all about fluidity. I don't think they really care about gender.
Fair enough, but we are going to have to use some kind of pronouns for him in a book, and without trying to be insensitive on anything that's actually important, you can't write an entire book where you only refer to somebody as they and have the prose come off smoothly and engagingly. It starts to stand out. So I usually prefer, unless that's the focus of the story, to have a gendered pronoun.
I'm going to say dude.
Dude. Okay, yeah, SRW has said we've been assuming he's a guy. We've been using him. Okay. Yeah, you can refer to, if you're going to go with fluid, you can refer to people by their title as well, but it's going to bring in a level of prose finagling that can be difficult and might not be something we want to play with in our first book. And again, I'm not trying to be insensitive to anything that's actually important. I am purely thinking about our output product. And there's, again, in books, things mean things. And if we're not going to do something with it, just having a gendered pronoun would be better for our purposes and what we're trying to learn by being here.
Yep. I'm going to say that we might sneak a thing about them being like that, but do not force it in. Do not take extra strain on yourself.
I just think we're setting ourselves up for extra difficulties that we don't need at this current time, because we're not planning on doing anything meaningful with it. Okay, so we'll stick with him.
Yeah. Don't buy problems you can get away for free.
Yeah. All right, so what were we doing? Things he values most in life. What does he value? What are his things that are most important to him? I think teaching. I think he's just insanely passionate about teaching and passing things on.
Yeah, no, he likes it. They very much like it.
Yeah, I think he finds that really important. I also think that he's probably quite a tactile person, and because he's lost one of his senses. So seeing new things and engaging with new things or things other people haven't seen with the senses that he does have, I feel probably helps him to make up for the one that he's lost.
Yeah, he likes punching people in the shoulder. Makes me think about resonance control and the intricacies and niceties of Sholi society about how learning how strong do you project your resonance and how to hide it and how to control it in an intricate manner to be a more socially adept person. Just a thought that comes to mind that Jolie might have an entire area of etiquette
Yeah.
about projecting and reading resonance.
Yes. And it will be one of those things that's just, it's not necessarily a taught class, although there might be classes for it. It's just one of those social constructs that's naturally part of being a shoaly on shoal. Is, you know what, yes, you might have felt that in their resonance, but it's very impolite to directly ask about it or to shove yours back.
Yeah. Like, you can actually bully people with your resonance if you're doing it correctly, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And
Yeah, it's like people who square up and invade other people's space on purpose in the human world. You're just being needlessly aggressive.
yep, and having a good resonance control is like having a firm, good handshake in a business speaking.
Yeah, without going too far or too little. Okay, we'll stick to just the two, well, it's supposed to be top 3 things he values most in life. So we've got teaching, we've got tactile exploration, what else?
Tactical exploration, and I think that being exploratory, he does. Again, he's been pretty successful and pretty effective with his life. So he went ahead and did what he wanted. So he is exploring, and that's the love of his life. He lives for the "Sir, we found something" moment. He likes that. He wants that. It's the "Sir, we're not sure what we found, but it's weird and interesting, and it for some reason wants to put a spider toaster on a top hat."
So I put it as the third one then, travelling/exploring to make the most of his latter years and see everything Shoal has to show him before his time comes. The weirder the things he sees on the way, the better. Okay,
Cool.
what object can he not bear to part with and why? What must he always have with him? Oh, culinary exploration, maximising touch, taste and smell senses. Yes, we'll add that in as well. He is also rampantly excited about food experiences, as these make the most of his more mundane senses. There we go. Alright, what can he not bear to be without? What thing does he always have with him? I feel like he's going to have something that is from his Titan. Whether it's a, piece of cracked armor that he wears as a pendant, a little shard that came off of the armor, but something to do with the Titan that he once piloted and connects him back to that time period.
If the chat has an idea, I have mine, but it's not exactly off the Titan.
I just feel like some tie to that point in his life would be the sort of thing that he'd carry with him and probably fiddle with when he's contemplative. I can talk, I swear. English is definitely my first language.
I think I'm going to say sidearm.
Okay.
And he can take it apart and put it back together, and gives us an excellent scene that he is, he's looking at you and he's talking at you, and he has 4 arms, and he's taking apart and putting together his sidearm without looking at it. Field stripping a flechette launcher without.
Okay, so he's got his sidearm from his Tide Warden days, and it will have, SR Addict just said, his rank insignia. Let's have his rank insignia on the sidearm, and he always has that with him.
Yep.
And, okay, if Titans have a physical linking item, maybe his burnt out linkage. We could also have that as something that he perhaps keeps. It's something he always has with him, but he doesn't display. So maybe he keeps that in a little tin in his pocket or something.
I think that in his office he has the mesh web that you wear around your cortex to enhance Temp's coral connections.
Okay. So he always has on him his Tide warden sidearm from his service days. It has his rank insignia and Titan designation on it. He often takes it apart. He often field strips it. When
In a manner I've never done with my own firearms,
with people.
of course.
He
Ordinary.
also keeps in his office his mesh cowl from his piloting days. I can spell, I swear. Piloting days, specifically the one he was wearing when he burned out. It is not on display. He never takes it out to show people, but it's very important to him that he has it, specifically not to look at. Not to look at, but to know it is there. And I don't think we need to explain why. It's obviously because of his past as a Titan pilot and what happened to him. We're not going to describe an outfit at this time because it doesn't matter right now. What we are going to do, however, is talk about his method of manipulation. We all have a method of manipulation, the way that we go through the world to get the things that we want without upsetting the people around us. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is, something that we have the ability to do as sapient people. So how does Umi move through the world to get... to have peace and get the things that he needs done? What is his method of manipulation? And we can always go through what the methods of manipulation are if people have forgotten them and wish to know. The guilt trips are one of them, yes.
I think he has a plethora of them at this point. Again, being a commander, leading people is knowing how to press multiple buttons until you get what you need.
I don't think he'd ever gaslight somebody, but I think he might. I think he might use a little bit of not emotional blackmail, but emotional consequence to get people to do what he wants. So, well, yeah, okay, yes, we could do it that way, and it would be slightly more efficient. But then this person will never work with us again because you've insulted them and their families. Is that really what you want to do?
Okay, I mean, verbal cajoling exists, and it's a tool, and it's a useful tool, especially if you're a sergeant. He's very capable of browbeating other people.
Okay.
He's very, very capable of browbeating, but he really prefers not to, in the sense that he prefers to let his rank and experience and the deference people give him to do the talk. And his other manner of leverage is actually getting up, doing the thing, displaying such an air of competence and confidence until you're just like, okay, these guys know what's up and I'd better listen to them, otherwise why am I even here?
Okay, so his method of manipulation is I'm going to put guilt tripping in brackets dash leading by example to the point people feel compelled to help and or listen to the confident man in the room who is just getting on with it.
It's a form of browbeating, form of listen. If you're not going to listen, you either listen and help or get out of the way, which is efficient with certain personality types. I don't think he's all too used to dealing with people who are just rambunctious. these sort of people are just shoved out of the airlock, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't need your type here. You're not joining my crew if you're like that.
Alrighty. So we've got that in. Next, we're moving on to character goals. What is the best thing in the character's life? I mean, we are looking at somebody who's in the latter half of his life, so I think for him, the best thing in his life is leading expeditions and going new places.
Yep.
Going new places and being allowed to just do things his way, because he's been successful for so long.
Yep.
How are they dissatisfied with their life? This is going to be the harder one. What is it in his life that just isn't good enough that makes him want to make changes and do things differently every day?
They really wanted to, deep down inside, I think they. Oh, hello. Zimthar.
It's Cynthia!
Welcome.
I didn't want to interrupt your thought.
No, Zimthar. Zimthar is great by
Yes.
definition.
Yes.
I love Zimthar.
Welcome in,
They
Cynthia,
do
and
so
to the
much.
nonsense.
Welcome. Zimthar is an inspiration to me. Okay. So to think about that, he has two things going wrong. Okay. Yeah, Eric, you're on the nose. You're on the nail with it. He thinks that maybe somewhere he lost a trick. He lost a manner. If a villain would tempt him with a wish, is to get back in the saddle
Yeah.
somehow. Get back in there. He wants.
Okay, so how is the character dissatisfied with their life? Despite the therapy and his relatively stable outlook on life and his place in it, he still, at his core, misses being a Titan pilot. Wishes he could get back in the saddle, and for all he enjoys mentoring others, he really, really wishes he could just do it himself.
Which is partially why our Serenoid, why Ire is going to push him into the saddle and say, "Do it, you moron." You're 200 years too young to feeling like that, to start feeling sorry for yourself. Because Serenoids live forever.
Yes. Oh, Pip has opinions on that. Thank you, Pip. Thank you, my boy. Why are we wooing?
Correct.
Why are we wooing? We singing for our people?
Yes. Pets are to be redeemed for Wilf and Willie and Night Owl.
Okay, so we're going to look at a few more things. What does your character believe will bring them true happiness or contentment? What step could they take to turn that into reality? And how has their fear kept them from taking that action already? So this is the sort of thing that's really important for our main characters to sort of drive them for why are they responding to the call to action. How you know, what's the character arc going to be based on all these things we've decided about them. Pip, you are not helping. But I think for this particular character, although he is still one of our main characters and is going to be a driving force, he is somewhat second to our human character, and this isn't quite as important for him, especially in the phase of life that he's in. He's not in a phase of life where he needs to turn his dream into a reality. His character arc is going to be just coming to terms with some of these last remaining misbeliefs about the world that he still has despite his phase in life. So I think for him, what he believes will bring him true happiness or contentment is passing his knowledge on to the next generation. So, for example, making sure that the human understands the Sholey way, and that the Temple Guardian pilot becomes the best pilot that he could be. That's what he thinks will bring him true happiness. But of course, what will really bring him true happiness is reconciling his own position as a Titan pilot. He might not be able to actively pilot Titans anymore, but that's still definitive of who he is. For all that he's also an excellent librarian adventurer, his core self and the thing that he values most in life is a Titan pilot. That has been what's most important to him, and he deserves to sit in the cockpit one last time. That's his character arc. We don't need the extra bits for that, I don't think. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm sold.
Could he be tempted to cross a moral line to regain his psionic link, since that will help let him pilot a Titan again? I think that's the sort of thing we could explore with this character, but I don't think we're going to have that come up in the story that we've decided we're writing. But that might be something we want to hang on to for a future story, and maybe we write a character specifically for that. That would be awesome. His true happiness is getting to punch a big monster in the face with a giant robot. Yes. Yeah, we do have a slightly different to normal character here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out these questions, and we're just going to fill this in under the true happiness thing. So, Umi thinks that imparting his knowledge of how to be a good pilot onto Jacob, because he has a name. We don't just need to call him the human, he has a name. Umi thinks that imparting his knowledge of how to be a good pilot onto Jacob and to the Temple Guardian Titan team will be the culmination of his life's work. However, underneath the coping mechanisms, therapy, and excellent mentorship, Umi is at heart a Titan pilot. What he truly wants is to sit in the cockpit one last time, put his knowledge to use, accept himself as both an excellent librarian, adventurer, but more importantly, his place in the world was as a Titan pilot, and his character arc will see him accept and embrace this and sit in a cockpit one last time to punch a giant monster in the face with a giant robot. There we go. This is a very, very important character arc.
Yes. Look, if punching things wasn't a character arc, I would literally be without one. No, we need the punching.
Yes. I think we're going to have some real fun with this character. I think he's going to bring some feels into the story towards the end. And I'm very happy with where we've got to with him. I feel like he fits into our narrative niche very well. We've got some unique things to play with, some ideas that we can bring into our narrative that's going to be really, really fun. He's great. I'm pleased with this. This is great.
I am pleased to have pleased.
Mino. Okay, and that means that next week we will be doing our Ceratinoid Mercenary. I think we're going to have some fun writing him as well. We will leave him till next week.
I rate Ceratinoid.
And then what I need to do... Yep, there we go. There is the updated art that Lictor did. This is our Laticle Bubble 07. He has some colour on him now. This is one of our thick, deeper water Laticles, based more on moray eels. Even on another world, punching a giant monster in the face with a giant robot is a man's romance. I mean, I'm enamoured with it as well. I think it's an everyone romance. This is where we have found our gender fluid moment of the day. This is an everyone romance.
Yes. There is romance, and there is also a crab jamming on the edge of the martini glass.
Yes, that's very important. You've got to have crabs jamming out. Let me zoom in so Shaq can see the little crab. There he is. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for doing that, Lictor, while we've been sat here wittering. We are about 10 minutes away from the hour when it is Striker's turn to come and entertain you fine folk and do all the cool things that Strikers do. So we probably will just get out of here at this point because I think we've gone as far as we can go today.
Yes.
To quote a damn good song, we dig giant robots, chicks dig giant robots.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where this setting started. What if giant robots, but underwater? And then that's actually like the whole focus, not just the side focus that only turns up in like 3 episodes of the entire anime.
And Mecha Mermaids. Do not forget.
Yes,
Mecha
I mean, when it was purely just mine, it was Mecha Mermaids because it was going to be an art challenge, and that didn't have time to happen. And then when I brought it before you guys, it became something different and communal and much bigger, and now it belongs to all of us. And look at where we've got to.
Yes. Look, one last thing.
Yes.
Observe you late.
Did you DM me something? Oh, you did. You did. Okay. Save image.
I'm just things are happening in my head, and then they get transferred to a digital medium.
There we go. It is updated on stream as well, and now they can see it.
But they can see it. They can see. I have definitely never, ever, 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 ever watched Ilawi from League of Legends do things to other players. It has never happened. And those of you who know, praise Nagakaboros. Everyone else don't know. Oh, yes. What? Hello.
There is an anime about submarine mechs on Mars. Yes, I mean, we're not the first people to have this idea, but underwater mecha tend to get the short end of the stick, and we decided we were going to contribute to balancing that scale a little bit.
Exactly.
Pip is very much telling me that I need to get off of stream and go and give him fuss. This is very important. He needs his scruffle scritches, and I'm overdue for giving them, it seems.
Yes, we have been here for 3 hours.
We have. We grabbed some extra time so we could just witter elongatedly at the beginning of stream today, and that was very fun.
Indeed. Everyone, remember, metal bands of Shoal. It's up to you.
Yes, you must decide what the metal bands of Shoal are and go and post those over in the Discord in our dedicated Shoal channel. It's in the creative writing section. I will give pets to the puppers. I can do that for you. Everybody who's asking, I will happily give pets to the puppers.
Next time.
Yes.
We're doing the iPad.
Alrighty. Striker is up next. You have Bulk later on today, and then Saturday and Sunday we have extra programming for everybody for the end of September. So I hope you guys will be able to toddle along and see what everyone's getting up to. And I will, of course, be back in the admin booth for WBPLW on Sunday at the usual time. And I hope to see as many of you as possible there. Have a wonderful weekend. Be good to each other. And yeah, we are out.
Out.